Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. How are we all doing? Can you hear me okay? I'm having lots of scuff as usual today. Things are breaking. I'm breaking everything. Hi, everyone. How are you all doing? How are you all doing? Who is here today? Let me see those lab safety register check-ins so I can see who's here today. Let's see. Hello, Flatulence Incarnate. Hello, Savitar. Seems I misread the time on the week schedule posted on Twitter at the start of the week. Not that I'm complaining. Did I post it correctly? Wait, let me check. This is a better question. Did I post it correctly? I did post it correctly. Okay. I'm a semi-functional adult. Sweats nervously. Hello, Going Gay. Hello, Awkward Flea Bro. Hi, Astral. Hello. Very busy today, so just popping by to say hi and keep the streak. Thank you for popping by, Astral. I hope that your day is going as it needs to go. Hello, Cogs Right. Hello. I'm amused. I had to look into another paper to explain the method used by this paper. Clearly, I found a rough draft as there's a section that says insert table here, please. Oh, that's so funny. Thank you for the head pats. Hello, Cranberry Cook. Hello. Hello, CWW. Hello, Moray. Hello, Cobb German. Okay. Jeb Kerman. I swear, I've been awake all day, actually. I'm meant to be functional. Okay. Hello, Jeb Kerman. Hello, Anna Kanugi. Hello, Goringe again, and Cranberry again. Hello, Roots. Hello. Thank you for the 15 stream streak, Goringe. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hi, Yoavco. Hello. No notification in Discord. Again? Wait, let me check. Oh, for goodness sake. Why is this still not working? Okay. Do you know what? We're gonna fix this. We're gonna fix this because this has been broken basically the whole time. And I thought I'd fixed it, and it said on the pin cord panel that it was fixed, and apparently it's not fixed. So that's annoying. Right, let's see. How do we get to the dashboard? Where is the pin cord dashboard? I've forgotten. Let's see. We need to fix this because this is so bad. Let me finish saying hello to everyone actually first. Thank you for the 15 stream streak, Savitar. Thank you. And hello, Drum. Hello. Okay, let me first of all, do this. Let me ping people. Going live. We are live, by the way. The bot is still broken. There we go. No scuff here. Professional streamer. Okay, right. Where's the... Right, ping cord. This thing's broken. It's been broken the whole time. Why are you not working? Let's see. Let's have a look. It says it should be working. Why are you not working? Oh, okay. It must be a permissions problem. Let's have a look. It can view the channel. It can send messages. It can embed links. You know what? I'm just gonna tick everything. There we go. Okay, but it can't manage messages. No managing. Okay. Right. In theory, this should now work. Let's see. I mean, it won't ping today anyway, but, you know. Maybe this will work now? It says on the dashboard that it's got all the permissions it needs, so I guess it's just being silly. I don't know what's going on. Hello, Thomas. Hello. Hi, Just Jane. Hello, Cleeper, and hello, Potter. Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing today? How are we all doing? You turn the stream off and on to see if it works. The thing is, if I do that, then what normally happens, here's a little bit of behind the scenes on streaming. If you stop your stream and then restart it, basically people don't actually get notified on the Twitch app, and a lot of people are kind of like half listening. So if I were to do that, then I will come back with probably about a third the number of viewers. So TLDR, streamer should never ever restart their stream unless they really need to. Yeah. Hi Tayu, hello. We're talking D&D today? No? Question mark? I don't know anything about D&D. I watched the film when it came out, but I don't really know anything about it. Thanks for the ping. I forgot this was an early stream. Yeah, the bot was meant to ping, and it decided not to again, and I'm annoyed at it, and I'm gonna bite it. I'm gonna bite it. So, yeah. I have to write a 1,400 word critique of a philosophy paper and read the whole of Frankenstein by the end of the day. You can do it. You can do it. We believe in you. Go and do your work. You can have this on as background noise if you want, but do your work. I'm telling you to do your work. Do this. Yoavco. Listen. Do your work. Do your work. This is a joke about TTRPG space being autistic gender diverse bunch. Oh, I see. I understand. I wouldn't know because I've never done D&D or any kind of tabletop RPG, actually. I just don't know anything about anything. I'm just a silly little guy. Which bot was meant to ping? It was meant to be ping cord. I think I fixed it. I think it was like, it just didn't like the role, and I've kind of like removed it. I've tried turning it off and on again, basically. We'll see if it works. If not, then I'll just try and fix it again next time, which will be tomorrow. So, I'm on the bus on my way home. Okay, that's fine. You can stay while you're on the bus, but as soon as you get off the bus, go do your work. I DM for 5 different D&D groups. It gets pretty ridiculous. I can imagine. That must be a lot of information to store in your brain. I've never done D&D. That sounds like something that needs to be fixed. Yeah, I keep thinking I should probably try D&D one day. Like, I do think I should. This is probably something I should do. And then I just don't for some reason. Yeah. Also, that speaking of things that keep breaking, right? Speaking of things that keep breaking, I can't get into Blue Sky. It just keeps saying you need to put in your birthday, and then I put in my birthday, and then it doesn't work. It just says network error. So I guess I'm not allowed to use Blue Sky anymore. So that sucks. Oh well. Hi Lucky Luna. Hello. My autistic gender diverse community is Bloodborne. Feels like there's a lot of congregation around certain communities. I agree. I think VTubing probably also, to be honest. Yeah. Hi Nuclear Saltwater. Hello. I imagine that at the scale you'd have to rely heavily on notes. Yeah, I'd imagine so. I would just forget everything, honestly. Even with the notes, I'd probably still forget everything. I'm not good at things in general. I forget things. Okay, I need to... I just realized I haven't finished my... Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. I know what I'm doing. Like I said, professional stream, no scuff whatsoever. I'm definitely not doing things last minute because I was kind of late starting the stream because I was watching the end of Fi's charity stream, and then I was like, wait, I'm meant to be streaming now. Whoops. It happens. It happens. By the way, I don't know if all of you saw, Fi the Neutrophil was doing a charity stream. It was for raising money for breast cancer. Let me find the link. I think you should still be able to donate, even though the stream's finished. It was 24 hours, which is wild. Like, I genuinely don't know how he functioned. Let's see. Fi the Neutrophil. Let me find this Tiltify link. Okay. There. Oh. Here. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Is this it? Yeah. Okay. Here you go. Here is the Tiltify donation link. Please, if you have a little bit of money to spare, please consider going and donating because it's a very good cause. Breast cancer is one of those things where it's like you can do things about it, and yeah, every bit of money goes towards finding a cure for it, which is very cool. Obviously, don't do any of the incentives because they're all like the stream's done. There's no incentives for you. You were too late. But you can still donate, and you should probably do that because it's good if you have the money. Don't do it if you can't afford it. That's not good. Yes. Although I imagine quite a lot of you probably already have. Hi, Professor Dutchy. Hello. This isn't Monday, it's Sunday. True, actually. Very true. Let's see. It's okay, you just forgot your birthday. Burb day? I don't have a burb day. I don't have a burb. Huh. I think this is the high degree of personal expression. Maybe. And like you can control how you express yourself as well. Like you aren't limited by the confines of physical reality. That's probably part of it too. Hello, Lost Raven Knight. Hello, Osias. Welcome. And hello, Alec Gog. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome into the research participation pool. I'm late. Recap the entire first 20 minutes of the stream for me. I'm bad at technology. There you go. That's the entire summary. So nothing different than normal, really, to be honest. Mental Mentat, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome into the research participation pool. Thank you. And hello, so random lemon. Hello. Water is wet. It's so true. Yeah, it's nothing new. Hi, Seorian, the Literature Club. Welcome. Welcome in. Lots of stories of trans and other gender diverse people exploring that through tabletop RPGs before coming out. Yeah, I'm not even surprised. Like, it seems like a really good like format to do that, right? Yeah. If you start talking about the paper now, you'll be ahead of schedule. You're so right. Hello, Mavis Deepsy. Hello. No, you've not missed anything yet. And hello, Luke, as well. Hello. Probably not staying for long, but I hope you'll have a lovely stream. Thank you. I hope you have a good day and a good luck. Thank you so much for dropping by. Okay. What am I doing? I need to do this real quick. I've got a thing I need to do real quick, which is to where am I? What? Huh? I know what I'm doing. Okay, this. I am very quickly doing my go live post on one of my platforms that I forgot to do. Okay, right. Name of the paper by Munday et al. 2025. There we go. Okay. Done. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay, let's go. Right, so today we are also hi Tynek, welcome. So today we are talking about a paper that I saw on the internet, and I thought, wow, that sounds interesting, because we've been talking quite a lot about like autism, neurodivergence, and then I think last stream or the stream before, we ended up going on a little bit of a tangent about like gender identity as well. And I thought, I saw this paper and I was like, oh, that seems actually quite like thematic for what we've kind of been talking about a little bit on stream. So I thought it sounded fun. And it's also a qualitative paper. And I like doing qualitative papers because you can kind of actually like see what people are saying, you know? Like it shares the experience that people have very clearly. So, with that being said, oh, that was very aggressive. Where's my fade? Okay, it just It's just aggressive. I understand. That's just how it's gonna be today. Okay. By the way, also, I forgot to say, I have like new toggles. So like new redeems even. So my son is back, head pats is back. I think that one's already been spotted. Eye bags are back, that's also already been spotted. And then also there's like this one now. There's this one now. There you go. Change outfit. So if you would rather see my idol outfit, you're welcome to. But I'm gonna change it back because I don't need it right now. Apron? It's not an apron. It's not an apron. It's my idol outfit for when I do karaoke normally. Welcome, A-pop. Hello, hello. Aggressive paper. It's not aggressive. What's aggressive about it? Hello, said Victor. I hope you're good. Hello, Colox Silver as well. Hello, hello. And hello, Jade Low. I hope you're all good. Okay, so this is the paper. Oh yeah, also, actually, saying that. Before the paper. Okay, you know what? Fine. Okay, right. Beans, yes, I agree. So before the paper, very quickly, I've got my son, apparently. I'm very tired, apparently. But I have also fixed my like toggles. So I had this like weird setup going on, basically, where like my toggles were attached to the like the numpad on like a full-size keyboard, but I don't have a full-size keyboard. So now what I've done is I got out my full-size keyboard out of storage, but I don't want to use it because it's got brown caps. It doesn't feel nice. So what I did was I set it up on my Stream Deck. So now I am actually using my Stream Deck. That's good. Because normally I just use it for like changing volume on things. But now I'm also actually have toggles. So I can, for example, just randomly toggle on my PhD outfit. Yippee! And I can also just randomly put my glasses on. Yippee! And I can also do this when I wish to. And I can also, what else can I do? I can turn my eye bags on permanently if I so desire it, but I won't right now. I can get my wand out again. Yippee! I am in fact a magical girl. And I also can do the So this is good. I have put your glasses on. Okay. There you go. We'll put the glasses on for the stream. This makes sense actually. Hello, Lazy Anomalocaris, and hello, Tutti Frutti Judy Booty. Hello, hello. Welcome in. I hope you're both good. Okay, so with that being said now, let's actually get to work on doing the paper. Right, so this, there we, why is it so aggressive? Why is it not fading? Why do my fades always disappear? It's so sad. It makes me cry. It's on fade. It's meant to fade in. It just never does. Whatever. Whatever. Oh, put your glasses on. It's a Berserk reference. I didn't, you know, my brain genuinely like auto-corrected that. Okay, I'll take them off. I guess I'll take them off. They faded. True. If I get this out, is this like in the way of the paper? It is. That's very much in the way of the paper, isn't it? You can't even read that when I've got this out. Unless I make myself a bit smaller. Wait. There we go. Also, I must say that today we're on a time limit. So I will actually be trying to read this as rapidly as possible because, first of all, I'm going to the cinema. And I need to be at the cinema for a certain time. So I need to finish at a certain time today. But also, I know where I want to raid into today. So no guide the raids today. I know where we're raiding into because if I remember correctly, I do believe that Shumimi is having a like new rigging on her model debut. She's debuting new rigging on her model. Yes. So That's where we'll be going today. So please no guide the raids today. Okay, cool. Is the wand annoying? Someone please tell me if the wand is annoying. Like, I need to explicitly be told I can put it away if you don't like it. if it's in the way, I can put it away. No yapping for 1 hour before even starting to read the paper today. We've instead only done, I guess technically like 20 minutes of yapping because I had the 8 hour start. 8 hours starting soon screen. 8 minutes starting soon screen. Yes. What's going on? Okay. There we go. Okay. No one said anything about the wand, so it's staying until someone complains. Okay, right. So this is the paper that we're going to be reading today.
Psydere one smug.
Alex, thank you so much for the resub. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And hello. Thank you for the lab safety register check-in. Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope you're having a good day. Thank you so much for the sub. I appreciate it. Shumi starts at 6 p.m. UK time. Yes, it's in my calendar. Because I put like 1 hour before I need to leave for the cinema is Shumi starting, and I was like, oh, that's really convenient timing. I can watch the beginning of it and also raid in. That's very good. The one's just the pointer. Yes, it's pointing towards the things that you should be looking at. Maybe if I move down slightly. Hang on, wait. If I go like this, maybe. Should we could just have the whole body out for once today. How do you feel? Is that weird? Does that make everyone feel nervous? I am, in fact, an entire entity. Can you believe it? Okay. Hello, Sadapon. Thank you for the follow. Welcome into the research participation pool. Okay, so it's better? Okay, good. Okay, we'll stick like this then. We'll stick like this. Okay, so this is the paper that we're going to be reading today. It was published in PLOS ONE, which is an open access journal. Shout out to open access. It means I can read it on stream. That being said, I do believe that the copyright is... Oh no, it's just normal CC. Okay, perfect. I was worried it was like CC by NC and I had to do my standard disclaimer at the beginning. It's not, so that's good. I don't have to. I have to do a different disclaimer in a second though. But yeah, this is the paper that we're reading. So this is Transgender and Gender Diverse Autistic Adults' Experiences of Belonging and Unbelonging by Munday and colleagues. Yeah, I saw this on the internet. I need to sneeze, wait. Okay. Okay, like I was saying, I saw this paper and yeah, I thought it just like perfectly fit into what we've been talking about recently about like experiences of gender as an autistic person, because the evidence seems to show that autistic people are more likely to identify as being trans or non-binary or some other like, yeah, like gender diverse label. So when I saw this, I was like, huh, that's like exactly the kind of things that we've been talking about recently. That's really interesting. That being said, I will add like a kind of disclaimer here, which is that I am autistic, but I am not trans or gender diverse. I'm a cis woman. So some of the things that they're saying, I'm going to be potentially interpreting it through that lens, and feel free to just like if you are willing to and it's not going to like harm your safety and you are trans or non-binary or genderqueer or some other gender diverse label, feel free, or identity even. I shouldn't say label, that's not the right word, is it? Identity. Feel free to just like jump in and correct me on things. Yeah, because I think that hearing your voices is very important, and I am not trans, so yeah. But yeah, let's go. It might sound weird, but but consider I meet almost no trans people, or none I would spot as one. There's a lot of people who take part in that research. I just googled the research and it had 4,807 participants in the research. This paper is a qualitative paper. I'm not sure what research you're talking about, this one's a qualitative paper, so it's going to have quite a small sample size. So when I say qualitative, I mean they're like getting people in to do interviews. I did actually read, like I skim read this one in advance for once. But yeah, they're like bringing people in to do qualitative interviews. So I don't think the sample size is going to be that big. But you can, if you access certain spaces, be it in person or online, or like you have people, you know people in the community, you can definitely find that many people. Especially if you're not limited by geography, like it might be really difficult. Say if you're like trying to find, say if you're trying to like, I don't know, survey all of the trans autistic people in a certain city, like that's going to be a small sample. That's going to be like, well, depending on the size of the city, like it's going to be small. Like in the most recent census, you have to bear in mind though that like the population estimates for how many trans people there are like in society, they're normally kind of underrepresenting how many there actually are, because a lot of people are closeted in the sense of like they're not publicly open about being trans. I'm using trans as like an umbrella term for any kind of gender diversity, by the way, when I'm saying this. So when you look at like the most recent census in the UK, for example, it says it was about 0.1% of the population, but when you consider the number of people that probably are but aren't responding, then the estimates are closer to like 1 to 5%, depending on various things. Yeah. I don't know if I was attempting to address anything there. I feel like I've lost my train of thought slightly. But they're definitely around. You can definitely find them. They can definitely take part in the research. But you do need to have a certain degree of, I would say you need to have a certain degree of like insider networking for trans people to trust you, because there's been a lot of like really bad systemic issues around how they're treated in research and medicine. So sometimes they can be understandably not very trusting depending on who the researcher is. Yeah. Oh, you found it on PubMed. Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, so sometimes they're doing it through like a service. So some countries have like specific services that are designed to provide medical care for trans people, or there might be like a what's it called? Like a gender clinic, which is aimed at helping people transition. So if you have access to one of those kinds of services, you can basically just like ask everybody who's a service user, and then you can find people pretty easily. Yeah. Hi, the Rogue of Light. Hello. As an AMB genderqueer person, I appreciate this. Thank you. I'm doing my best. But yeah, if I say anything that any of you feel like I need to be corrected on, like I said, I am autistic. I'm not trans or gender diverse, so please do just jump in and correct me. I know the psychology and the autism experience side of things. I don't have the full holistic experience with this paper. Would a few hundred people be a small sample? I know a community. You know, it's such a small like subpopulation that would actually probably be quite a big sample. It's probably also a very heterogeneous group, similar to autism, just because of different stages of transition. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you can have some people that are like, they're kind of just coming to terms with the fact that they're trans, and then you can also have people who have been like medically transitioned and living the life that they need for like 50 years, you know? The internet, also hi Bobo, hello. The internet shrunk the world with landlines, paper and the like. The number of people that you've met was much smaller than what it is today. If you have 1% of a population, the likelihood of them bumping into you is negligible. Whereas you could open the interactions in any city, but once you could open the interactions with any city anywhere, 1% becomes a lot of people. Yeah, exactly. But also like the number of trans people, I think probably also it's important to acknowledge like the number of trans people that you interact with, it's going to vary depending on like where you are and how you're interacting with people. So if, for example, most of your interactions are like in person at your job or at the store, or anything like that. You like, yeah, it's 1% of your local area, like all the people in your local area. So that's not many people. There's a strong chance that like, yeah, you're not very likely to meet many. Whereas like if you are, for example, a VTuber, I know so many trans people, like, because it's just like, it's just one of the hobbies that attracts them, you know? Yeah. I'm gender diverse and autistic myself, as well as a person of color in the US. Life is not boring. Oh gosh, I can imagine. I can imagine. The perception of an explosion is something like, no, you just now got the chance to see what's there, just not in your neighborhood. Yeah. Yeah. And obviously there's like geographical variability in how comfortable people are being out as well. So if you live in like a really, really, say for example, if you live in a really religious area, like, say for example, you live in like a evangelical Christian majority area and people are generally very religious, then there's going to be a lot less people who come out as trans because it just doesn't, it's not accepted in the culture basically. Yeah. Whereas if you're like in a, you know, urban liberal city, then you're probably gonna bump into more. I definitely don't run into a lot of trans people in my day-to-day life, in real life. Unfortunately, my line of work is, and the trades in general, don't have a great history of being super tolerant of that kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, also like, it's kind of similar to like how your job can also kind of influence how much you interact with like even just like cisgender men and cisgender women, right? Like if you're in a trade, you're less likely to interact with cisgender women. If you're in nursing, then you're less likely to interact with cisgender men. Like it's just, you know, many things. I can't say it's just. It's many things. Many things contribute to that. Many things. Yeah. Okay, so with that being said, this is the paper that we're reading. We're going to skip over the abstract today because there's no need to read it. So, introduction. Awareness and visibility of trans and gender diverse individuals and identities, referred to as the transgender tipping point, has grown significantly in recent years. This shift has been accompanied by a rise in academic and personal literature aimed at enhancing visibility, fostering inclusion, and creating a sense of belonging within broader society for trans and gender diverse individuals across the global north. Increased visibility, however, has not necessarily translated into structural equality or safety for transgender people. While media representation and policy advocacy have expanded, systemic issues such as healthcare discrimination, employment inequality, and violence against trans and gender diverse individuals, whenever there's a acronym, I struggle. Individuals persist at alarming rates. Many transgender and gender diverse adults continue to face discrimination and unbelonging in the workplace and the labour market, as well as ongoing systemic and interpersonal barriers within healthcare. This discrimination often includes implicit transphobia, such as misgendering and being overlooked for promotion, and explicit transphobia involving harassment, abuse, and physical violence. Due to the permeation of these experiences across different life spheres, trans and gender diverse people are at a heightened risk of homelessness and domestic violence. Sorry, I was putting hand cream on while I was talking and now I need to scroll down. Okay. Similarly, awareness and understanding of autism have expanded significantly over the last 2 decades, marking a shift from deficit-based medical models towards neurodiversity and inclusion in the global north. Despite this shift, autistic adults continue to experience discrimination and unbelonging across different levels, including health and social care. In a survey of 209 autistic adults and 228 non-autistic adults in the US, Nicolaitis and colleagues found that autistic participants had significantly greater unmet healthcare needs and lower satisfaction with patient-provider communication. Miscommunication is also a barrier to autistic adults gaining and maintaining employment in higher education. These miscommunications can be explained by the double empathy problem, in which misunderstandings and the associated blame occur between individuals with differing neurotypes. This effect is perhaps more severe for trans and gender diverse autistic individuals, as the power imbalance in healthcare typically favours the typically more educated and privileged practitioners, placing marginalised individuals in a vulnerable position when seeking care. The issue of patient blame within healthcare is also deeply ingrained and can include misogyny, transphobia, ableism, and ageism. The double empathy issue is profoundly intersectional. Phew. Okay, so basically what they're saying is, what's the summary of this? I'm processing. So the summary of this is that trans people and non-binary people and gender queer people and other people from like minoritized gender groups, they have pretty consistent experiences where basically they're not treated very well. I shouldn't laugh because it's not funny. But I don't know how else to summarize it. Like they're just not treated very well, especially in healthcare. And, you know, they have complex healthcare needs. So that's a particular problem. But also in the workplace, you know, they can have issues with their colleagues, treating them badly for being trans. They can also have there's kind of systemic issues that happen in workplaces. So, for example, if you're a woman in a male-dominated workplace, you're much more likely to be assaulted. Am I allowed to say? I think whatever. I'm just gonna say it. You're much more likely to be sexually assaulted or harassed. So yeah. And that kind of thing also happens to trans and gender diverse people as well. So it can kind of cause a lot of issues within the workplace. And likewise, autistic people also have issues in the workplace and also in healthcare. More due to like communication barriers, although there can also be the same kind of systemic bias against them. So for example, if you're an autistic person and you go to the doctor and you complain about something, well, not complain, but, you know, you tell your doctor about something that's happening, there's a strong chance that they're going to turn around to you and go like, oh, well, maybe this is something to do with your autism, when it could be nothing to do with it. And I have experienced this before, like where I've been to my doctor about an issue and I was like, this thing is causing me pain and causing me problems. And they were like, oh, it's probably just sensory problems. And I was like, no, I don't think it is. And it turns out I had an ear infection and it got pretty bad because they didn't treat it. And it wasn't just things being loud all the time. I can tell when things are loud all the time. That's my normal existence. No, it was actually physical pain. And I told them that. And then it turns out I had an ear infection. So I had to go to the doctor 3 times for that. Yeah, so that's a thing that happens. But yeah, those kind of communication barriers are significantly more likely to occur between autistic people and neurotypical people when they're trying to interact with each other, which is that double empathy problem that we've talked about before, and it is the bane of my existence. But what they're arguing here is that basically you have this double empathy problem, you have systemic bias against autistic people, and then you also have gender-based systemic bias, and also specifically bias towards trans and gender diverse people, and all of it kind of like layers on top of each other to become a bit of a mess. So yeah, and that happens in both in healthcare and in the workplace and in pretty much every bit of life, to be honest. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna catch up on chat now real quick. Hello Red Epicness, hello, welcome. Let's see. I'm also drinking water. That's right, I don't need your hydrate redeem. Hi Sayon, hello. 8 pages done, 2 of which were infographics. Let's go, well done. I'd love to hear about your experience in the workplace at some point, as I'm working to prepare some of my older patients for that. It might be illuminating to what issues I should be looking to help with. Oh, I have thoughts on this. My experience in the workplace, shortly summarized, would be my first few jobs. I really struggled because, like, okay, Here's the things that I struggled with. When I was working in retail, I struggled with the fact that like you basically weren't allowed to think for yourself. So I would just do things that I thought needed to be done. And then my managers would tell me off because they'd be like, I didn't tell you to do that. And I'd be like, well, I'm thinking for myself. Like, it needs to be done. And they'd be like, no, you don't do it yet. And they wouldn't give me a reason why. It's just because they said so. I really struggled with that. And frankly, I've never found a way around it other than getting a better job. My last retail job was very good. My manager in that was very chill, and she just basically let me do things in the order that I felt that was most sensible. But the ones before that, not always, and I would get told off for things that I thought were actually helping my colleagues. And I asked my colleagues, and they were helping my colleagues. So yeah. The other thing is that like I think this probably varies a lot depending on person to person, but like I find I can't work 9 to 5 Monday to Friday. I need flexible working hours because sometimes I have to go and do something or I have a meeting and I just need to go lie down for like an hour afterwards because I have struggled with it. Yeah. So yeah, advocating for flexible working hours I think is very good. Also like my circadian rhythm I think is a bit different to most people's. I don't really function very well until like 10 a.m. And then I also don't function very well in the afternoon. And then suddenly at like 10 p.m. I'm like, I am awake and I'm ready to work. And then I work for like 4 hours and I'm very productive. So yeah, having a job that kind of is like fine with that is also important, I think. And then manager training. That's the biggest thing. I'm very lucky now that my team is very neurodivergent. But managers and colleagues definitely need to like understand that they need to be like they can't be like enforcing their own systems onto an autistic person. The autistic person needs to create their own systems and routines. Otherwise it just doesn't work. Like partially because like adapting your own routine as an autistic person, like for me it's like basically painful, you know, like it gives me so much grief and I end up getting so tired and then I just can't do my work. So having that understanding I think is really important. And then like understanding also that like sometimes we say things and we're not trying to be offensive, it's just the way that we say it. It sounds bad, but I promise it isn't. That's also I think something that's important. Those are the things that are coming. Oh yeah, and also making offices like sensory accessible. So like turn off those nasty lights if needed. I'm an advocate for like lots of small light sources. So like I'm a many desk lamps kind of person, you know. But obviously it varies depending on person to person. Those are like the things that come out of my brain without much thought. I could probably put more thought into it though. Does that help at all? I don't know if that I did that. I don't know. Also, hello, Robert Brown. Hello. Welcome. Your pain can't be that high. When the meter's registered that my blood pressure spiked to 220/180 when they touched my injured area, and then they took their hand off me and it dropped to 60/40. Fun fact, it was that bad. Yeah, that's relatable. Hi, Dilly. Well, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Welcome into the research participation pool. I have the family and medical industry cheat code that lets me know the words of power I can use to make my GP do their actual job. I also know the words because I worked in healthcare, but it took me working in healthcare to work out what they were, you know? Yeah. Was it a US company? They have very clearly defined handbooks to deal with massive churn employee-wise. No, it wasn't. I've only ever worked in the UK and Ireland. So, yeah. But like even if they're a US company in the UK, they have to still follow UK employment law. So, yeah. Yeah. Gender being split into gender identity, gender expression, and gender internals. with everyone having their own views on where the line is for each has done a lot of quote unquote damage. What do you mean by that? I don't know if it has done damage is a damage is a choice of word. But yeah, what do you mean by that? Because like gender expression and gender identity, I don't know what you mean by internal, but gender identity and gender expression are definitely different constructs. Hello, Bjorn Hellgate. Hello, hello. I hope you're good. My coworker who's autistic and works as our marketing guy has flexible working hours, starting work between 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. He always does his 8 hours, so no one minds. Yeah, that's how my current work approach it as well, and it's good. I appreciate it. Because I would not be very functional if they didn't let me do that. But also, like, so my work setup is I've got flexible working hours. I do 80% FTE, which means that I work 4 days a week and I get paid for 4 days a week. It's remote, so I can work from wherever I want, but realistically that means I normally work from home. And I find it all really helpful, to be honest, because like when I'm working from home, it's like an environment I know really, really well, and I know it's like sensory okay. When I am the flexible working hours mean that like sometimes I just need to lie down, and I can, and it's not a problem as long as I do my time and get my deliverables sorted. And then what was the other one? I forgot what the other one I said was. Oh yeah, 4 days a week. I find that really helpful because if I'm doing 5, I just get really burnt out. But also like it means that I have a day in the working week technically to do my own stuff. I can pursue my special interests. Yippee! Hello, Amorzino, hello. Do you have any books or resources that I can learn more about psychology and autism? I recently have been gaining interest on the subject. That's a good question. I don't really know about books, to be honest, because most of what I read is like journal articles. So like this one. Yeah, I mostly read journal articles. So thinking. For psychology, it depends. How much psychology do you know? Because my favorite introductory psychology book is, let me find it. It's not about autism specifically. It's just about general psychology. Let's find it. My favorite introductory book is 50 Great Myths of Popular Psychology by Stephen J. Lynn, John Ruskio, and Scott Lilienfeld. That's my favorite introductory book. Let me paste it in here. There we go. That's the book that I really like recommending to people as an introductory text, because it like addresses a whole bunch of myths, basically. Like it kind of says what it does on the tin, actually. Yeah. So it kind of goes down a whole bunch of myths in psychology. So like people only use like 15% of their brain and things like that. And it explains like why they're wrong and what the literature actually says about them. So yeah, that's why I like it. It's good. And I also like, I'm thinking, autism, there's a really good textbook that's come out. Let me find it real quick. Oh, you can see my thingy. I forgot that. Let me put that away for a second, because otherwise I'm gonna accidentally open up something that tells you where I work. Okay. Where is this book? I read a chapter out of it about the double empathy problem. Let's see. Was it this one? That's not helpful. Let's see. Oh no, that one was a book about empathy. That's not helpful. Okay. Do I have any books about autism? Let's see. Apparently I don't have a single book about autism in my entire Zetera library. So yeah, I can try and find some, because I know a lot of people that like do research in this kind of field. So I can try and find some resources if you want. Yeah, I can try. Yeah. Also, High Potential, thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Welcome into the research participation pool. Let's see. Where am I at with here? Gender internals is just gender identity, my bad. Oh, okay. It's mostly because of the concept of gender itself. The concept of women needing to wear dresses or men needing to like work in construction leads to some pretty terrible takes, I think. Even in the accelerationist takes, it like leads to stuff like male/hyper male, femboy, Chad, etc. Okay, I kind of get where you're coming from now. So the damage is more around people just like more intensely classifying things. Is that what you're saying? I kind of get where you're at. Yeah, really everything is a spectrum and we need to do a better job of communicating that. That's my impression. And even it boils down to like sex as well, like biological sex. Like biological sex is like bimodal. It's not discrete classifications. It is like bimodal classification is in like most people fall into two kind of rough areas of a spectrum, but there's people all over the place. And that classification, even then, like there's so much diversity within it. So like you can be like, oh, well, you're classifying it based on chromosomes, but then like there's loads of ways that doesn't make sense because, for example, someone can have a female sex expression despite having a technically male set of chromosomes. Like it can happen. And then there's loads of people that don't like fit into either expression at all, like intersex people. So yeah, everything is a spectrum. We do a terrible job of explaining that. Because it's hard to understand because most people don't how can I phrase this? Most people don't go around thinking that hard about it, you know? Like on average, the people you meet will fall into the classifications that you expect. And even when they don't, it's probably not obvious. So yeah, it's very, very difficult to kind of like get people to realize there's more going on. Like, I mean, like, yeah, like even in terms of like hormones, like people have all sorts of different types of hormones, regardless of what their biological sex in theory says that they should have on average. Like people never have the average. Well, sometimes people do, but like the average is an average for a reason, you know, like there's a lot of variation off the average. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. You can wear a cape regardless of your gender, Seon. You can wear a cape if you want to. Although they're not good because you can get sucked into a jet engine. So yeah, that's why I don't have a cape. Okay, there's gonna be an ad starting soon. I'm thinking, do I need to stand up? I probably should stand up. So, since there's an ad starting soon, I'm gonna put us into the BRB screen for a couple of minutes. I'm gonna probably also go and blow my nose very aggressively because I sneezed and ever since then I've been horribly stuffed up. So I will see you in a few minutes and then we will actually keep reading this paper. We're going to get further than the introduction, I swear. I'm not allowing us to get stuck on the introduction again. If we can't do it, it's not happening. Okay, see you in a few minutes. Pikmin 4 and 5, Pikmin 6, Pikmin 7, Pikmin 18 million and 11, Pikmin 3 Deluxe and hey Pikmin, new centrifuge to put Pikmin in. Pikmin in your membrane, that's called Pikmin blot. Old Pikmin theorem that scientists forgot. New mechanics, quantum Pikmin. Pikmin chest tube, Pikmin balloon mount, ray radio sound. Pikmin electrons covalent bond. Pikmin AI published IEEE. Slowed down Pikmin due to relativity. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating all it touches. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating everything it touches. Pikmin in your fucking culture. Pikmin 1 and 2 and Pikmin 3. Pikmin you play control for the Wii. Pikmin 4 and 5, Pikmin 6, Pikmin 7, Pikmin 18 million and 11. Pikmin 3 Deluxe and Hey Pikmin. New centrifuge to put Pikmin in. Pikmin in your membrane that's called Pikmin blot. Old Pikmin theorem that scientists forgot. New mechanics, quantum Pikmin chest tube, Pikmin balloon mount, radio sound. Pikmin electrons covalent bond. Pikmin AI published IEEE. Slowed down Pikmin due to relativity. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating all it touches. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating everything it touches. Pikmin in your fucking culture. Pikmin 1 and 2 and Pikmin 3. Pikmin you play control for the Wii. Pikmin 4 and 5, Pikmin 6, Pikmin 7, Pikmin 18 million and 11. Pikmin 3 Deluxe and Hey Pikmin. New centrifuge to put Pikmin in. Pikmin in your membrane that's called Pikmin blot. Old Pikmin theorem that scientists forgot. New mechanics, quantum Pikmin chest tube, Pikmin balloon mount, radio sound. Pikmin electrons covalent bond. Pikmin AI published IEEE. Slowed down Pikmin due to relativity. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating all it touches. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating everything it touches. Pikmin in your fucking culture. Pikmin 1 and 2 and Pikmin 3. Pikmin you play control for the Wii. Pikmin 4 and 5, Pikmin 6, Pikmin 7, Pikmin 18 million and 11. Pikmin 3 Deluxe and Hey Pikmin. New centrifuge to put Pikmin in. Pikmin in your membrane that's called Pikmin blot. Old Pikmin theorem that scientists forgot. New mechanics, quantum Pikmin chest tube, Pikmin balloon mount, radio sound. Pikmin electrons covalent bond. Pikmin AI published IEEE. Slowed down Pikmin due to relativity. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating all it touches. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating everything it touches. Pikmin in your fucking culture. Pikmin 1 and 2 and Pikmin 3. Pikmin you play control for the Wii. Pikmin 4 and 5, Pikmin 6, Pikmin 7, Pikmin 18 million and 11. Pikmin 3 Deluxe and Hey Pikmin. New centrifuge to put Pikmin in. Pikmin in your membrane that's called Pikmin blot. Old Pikmin theorem that scientists forgot. New mechanics, quantum Pikmin chest tube, Pikmin balloon mount, radio sound. Pikmin electrons covalent bond. Pikmin AI published IEEE. Slowed down Pikmin due to relativity. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating all it touches. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating everything it touches. Pikmin in your fucking culture. Pikmin 1 and 2 and Pikmin 3. Pikmin you play control for the Wii. Pikmin 4 and 5, Pikmin 6, Pikmin 7, Pikmin 18 million and 11. Pikmin 3 Deluxe and Hey Pikmin. I'm trying to make it so that my microphone actually picks up me doing the weird Pikmin noise, and it doesn't seem to Pikmin it up. Ha 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 ha. What if I do go like this? I'm gonna sound weird for a second. Pikmin. There you go. I had to turn off all of my audio filters to do it. But I managed to do it. Hello, Hawkwind. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed the Pikmin song. Okay, so where are we at? We are here. Okay, so autism, am I right? While awareness of transgender and autistic identities has increased in recent years, both groups continue to experience marginalization, discrimination, and exclusion. I wish that they wouldn't do the abbreviation. I'm going to struggle so much. Transgender and gender diverse autistic adults sit at the intersection of these unbelongings. May I have permission to just say trans to cover everybody? Because I feel like if I'm going to keep struggling over transgender and gender diverse, like that's not designed for somebody who has difficulties speaking. May I please have permission to just say trans? I need someone from the community to give me permission, if that's okay. If it isn't okay, please also tell me. Also, hi, never gonna find me. Thank you for the follow. Welcome into the research participation pool. We found you. Sorry. We found you and we're gonna research on you now. I hope you're ready. Hi, Racco. Hello, hello. How are you? I hope you're good. I hope you're good. Oh no. Oh yes. We found you and we're going to research you. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules. Okay. So transgender and gender. Go ahead. Thank you. The roguelite. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're reviewing Munday on a Sunday. You're out of control. I know. I can't be stopped. I can't be stopped. What am I like? Okay. So trans autistic adults sit at the intersections of these unbelongings. Feelings of unbelonging are multiplied, creating complex experiences of unbelonging across social and institutional structures, including systems that govern access to housing, travel, employment, and other essential structures. I feel like there was a lot of repetition in that sentence, and I'm struggling to process it. Previous research has tended to emphasize prevalence rates rather than lived experience, establishing that trans identities are significantly more common in autistic populations than in non-autistic populations. There's also a growing area of research which focuses on how to support trans autistic individuals in healthcare settings, with specific attention to gender identity healthcare. However, there remains little exploration of trans autistic people's experiences of belonging in daily life, or how structures such as work, education, and healthcare shape that belonging. Our work begins to address that gap through centering trans autistic narratives. I'm having an autism moment. I need to put the brightness down on my screen. It hurts. There we go. Okay. I had coffee earlier, and coffee always seems to make my sensory sensitivities like so much worse. I don't know why. Yeah. Isn't this interesting? Do you meow? And yeah, does that count? Hello, that red panda. Hello, hello. Not staying long because I'm at a board game hangout with some friends who popped in to say hi. Thank you for dropping by. I really appreciate it. I hope you're having fun at the board game hangout. Reviewing Monday on a Sunday. I always knew psych graduates always end up silly eventually. I can't be stopped. I can't be stopped. I'm silly. Okay. Dignity has gone behind the one-way mirror. Brilliant. Thank you, Cleeper. Not that I had any in the first place. Okay. So I'm sorry. I'm doing like many things at once, and I never am very good at doing that. What I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to connect. That's why that's not working. I'm silly. I'm trying to connect to my light bulbs because it's too bright. Like I need the light on, but it's also too bright and it's hurting me and I don't like it. So I need to turn it down. I need to turn the brightness down. Let's see. Office. Okay, that's better. Cool. I'm happy now. I put it on 50%. I can cope. Thank you for bringing out my son. He's very happy to see you all. Okay. Also, hi, Crystallic. Hello, hello. I hope you're good. Your words, not mine. I think you're full of dignity. I have so much dignity. Thank you for acknowledging it. I have so much dignity with my whale here. Me and my dignity whale. Okay, I've made my tea. Very good. Okay. So, conceptual framework. Let's go. Belonging has been defined as a unique and subjective experience that relate. I'm glad that they're okay. Right, actually, pause for a second. Pause for a second. They're finally defining belonging, even though they've been talking about it throughout the introduction so far already. Personally, I would have defined it earlier on. It's nice to have a definition, though. I appreciate that. You know. Yeah. I get it. That's why he's your son, because citation needed. That was never my thinking, but I'm stealing it, and I am not giving you any citation for it. No, I'm joking. That's actually so funny. He's just my son because he's my son. I've never, you know, some people have IKEA sharks, of which I am one of them. I have many IKEA sharks, but there's something just special about Sullivan, my son, because he's so sleepy. He's so sleepy, you know? He's so sleepy. You know, I think I can actually bring out a second one. Wait, if I go like this, zoom. Look, he's here. Wee, okay. Where should we put him? We'll put him down here. He just wants to chill down here. Rotate him. Okay. He's chilling. He's having a good time. Okay. Hi Zakia. Hello. I'm good, thank you. How are you? I hope you're good. Or the Blahaj? This is a good question. I don't know. I don't have a... Do I have a... I don't think I have one in my VTube studio. I can find one. If you give me like 2 minutes, I can try and find one. Right, if I go here, and if I go, I want type, no, I want transparent. Oh, that one's a bit of a funny color. I love him. There we go. Save image. Blaha. Ugh, why is it WebP? Oh. I'm not allowed to view the Blahaj. This is so sad. I am Blahageless. Oh, it's because the... Okay, I understand. Okay. Let's see. If I do this. Original file. This work? No, I can't. I can't download him. I'm crying. No shark for me. This is so sad. Maybe this one? Wow. He's so well stuffed. He's a good boy. I wish you could see him. Is this the right one? It is. Okay, let's try this one. And then if I go in here, item. How do I add a new one actually? I don't know how to do this. I've just realized I don't know how to do this. I'll find a way to add a Blahaj at some point. And then he can also sit there with Sullivan, my son. Transparency? Aren't you cis? Why I normally encourage your tangents. If you do actually want to finish the paper with your time limit, we might need to wait on the Blahaj. This is true. Thank you for reining me in, Flatulence Incarnate. I appreciate that. Okay, so where are we going? We're going back here. This is where we're going. Okay. Doing well, just finished a live comedy show. I was expecting a bit of mental whiplash, jumping straight into academic topics, but glad to see we're on a tangent as usual. Yes, we are indeed. Welcome in. Okay, so belonging has been defined as a unique and subjective experience that relates to a desire for interpersonal connection related to feeling, Related to feeling included, appreciated, welcome, and understood. I'm going to highlight this because otherwise I'll forget. And if I highlight it, then I won't forget. That's definitely how it works. The key characteristics of belonging include autonomy, choice, and commitment, and can be associated with objects, experiences, places, events, and land, as well as with people. Crucially, one's commitment to relationships and locations depends on the value one assigns to them. Conversely, unbelonging happens through devaluation, exclusion, and invalidation. Places and temporalities. So temporalities is just like space, like place is time. No, place is space. Temporality is time. There we go. We got there eventually. Temporality is time. So in like a certain time period. Intertwining with personal narrative, power dynamics, and lived experience can foster unbelonging. Okay. Unbelonging happened through devaluation, exclusion, and invalidation. Let's note that too. Okay. Cool. In the current study, we applied this understanding of belonging and unbelonging across a 3-level framework: macro, micro, and meso. Is it meso or meso? I think it's meso. The macro level includes abstract communities such as nationality and religion. The meso level incorporates associations with collective organizations such as political parties and social movements. And finally, the micro level is situated in the interpersonal interactions with friends, family, and local community. I wonder if I can find a way to like visualize this actually, because like this is one of those things where like it's a framework that we use a lot in social science. Micro, meso, macro levels. Can I find an image? I can. Oh, that's a nice one. Okay, this is a good one, I think. I have found an image. Save image. Here we are. Download. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going here, and I'm going here, and I'm going here. Okay, cool. So this is an image from the social capital. It's from socialcapitalresearch.com, the Institute for Social Capital. So shout out to the Institute for Social Capital. I'll put a link to their website in the chat because we like citing our sources. So that's where I've pulled this from. Oh, they have a Zenodo link as well. That's good. There you go. There's the Zenodo link. So this is by Tristan Claridge, at least is the person who has published this paper with this image in it, by the looks of it. So that's good. Cool. Okay. So yes, there's 3 different levels in social research. So macro is the one around. Wait. I got this. It's the one around the outside. Excuse me. Wait. Okay. This. There we go. Okay. So it's the one around the outside here. Okay. You see this? All around the outside here. And that is, society and culture, and kind of institutions around that. So, for example, it would be like government, law, culture, nationality, religion, and then inside of that there is the meso level. Yeah, I think it's meso like Mesopotamia, exactly. So it's because it's like between, isn't it? That's what it means, is between. So, and it's between micro and macro. The between level, meso, so that is kind of the groups that you're associated with. Social groupings, examples include your family group, a sports team, friend groups, your workplace, your places of worship, etc. It's also like the identities that you kind of hold that are kind of groups. And then micro level is your individual social relationships in here. So I'll use myself as an example, okay? Macro level, I am British. So British culture ends up in here. The various laws of the UK and Ireland that I have to adhere to are also all in here. HMRC, my beloved, is in here. The NHS, that's my healthcare system, that's in there too. What else? I'm thinking the police in my region, the politics of my region. Yeah, those are the kinds of things that are in the macro level. In the meso level, there would be things like, for example, my workplace. It would be things like the friend group that I have in my local area, and also my friend group that I have more broadly as well. It would be the fact that I'm a VTuber. It would be the fact that I am a psychologist, you know, these kinds of things that are like, they're social groups. So there were like ways to identify yourself. And then in the micro level, that's my individual or group interactions when I, you know, talk to people. So for example, right now, we're doing a micro level interaction because it is me and you, collective you. We're in here. Actually, you know what? As a VTuber, this is maybe a good way to describe it too. Micro level is like the interactions that we're having on stream. Meso level is the interactions that are within the community. So, for example, like, you know, my identity is a VTuber, but then also the community that we've got specifically. And then also macro level is like wider VTuber culture. That's a good way to frame it if you're into VTubers. So this is the kind of thing that's like dictated by cultural forces. Like, for example, what are the agencies doing and what are the norms around what you're expected to do on stream at the minute and things like that. And obviously you can opt out of them if you so desire to. You always have the option to opt out. But in reality, there's some degree of conformity you need to do to, you know, actually have people pay attention. Hi, I'm Takitan. Hello, hello. How are you? I hope you're good. Psydere lectures are the best lectures. I'm trying. And also, hello, Grievos. Hello, hello. Collabs would be meso or macro. Collabs would be actually micro. An individual one-on-one interaction between creators would be micro. But when the communities are kind of like interacting with each other, that would be a meso level interaction because it's two community groups kind of like interacting and fusing in a way and sharing things. Yeah. I hope this makes sense. Does this make sense? I hope that I have made some degree of sense and that I have explained this because it's quite a fundamental concept in any kind of social research, actually, when we're using this three-tiered structure. Like, we use it a lot. Yeah. Shared chat would be meso level. Shared chat would... I think shared chat would actually be micro level because micro isn't just one-on-one interactions, it's also groups. And like, as long as people are directly interacting with each other, then that would be... Okay, you know what, actually? A lot of people here are all Neuro fans. We'll use Neuro as an example. Okay, let me move this back over so I can do my little pointing again. Okay, right, so Neuro. We're using Neuro-sama as the example. So here, in the micro level, would be Neuro's interactions with, for example, Vedal, her interactions with her collab partners. Sometimes that's a group collab. It would also be her interactions with chat, okay? Meso level would be the way that the groups within the community, if that makes sense. So it would be like the swarm, but then it would also be the associated communities. So example, the code bugs, or what does Churchy call her community? I forgot, I'm blanking on it. But also like the Shoe Minions, for example. And thinking, who else is in the Neuroverse? Worm Pals, yeah. So Churchy's Worm Pals, Shumimi's Shoe Minions, Ellie's Code Bugs. Yeah, people yeah, communities like that. Those would all be meso level. And then the macro level would be how streaming culture and VTuber culture specifically is influencing what they're doing. So it's things like what industry, like, yeah, what like big industry organizations are doing. So for example, like what HoloLive are doing, for example. Like, it might not seem to directly impact it, but they kind of generate a set of rules that VTubers tend to follow. And that feeds into the streams. Does this make sense? Have I now explained this in a way that makes sense to everybody? I hope so. I think so. Okay, that's promising. Yeah, the Mina one would also be an example of a meso level. Yeah, exactly. But Serba herself would be micro level if she's interacting with Neuro. Or Vedal, I guess, as well. Yeah. Meso level is group culture, basically. Yeah, you can kind of think of it like subcultures in a way. So it's like subcultures or it's like group units. Yeah. Sometimes people's family units are also put in the meso level. So in that way, like the kind of like individual interactions would be in the micro level. But then, for example, if there's like regular group collabs, the kind of like references and things like that, like boarding with the boys. Okay, let's take like boarding with the boys. So that's when like Ellie, Shumimi, Minnie, Churchy, sometimes Server, sometimes Bo, sometimes other people kind of all come together and like every Tuesday and like just talk. They do like a yapping collab. And like the actual stream itself would be micro level, but the references and like the kind of like ongoing memes and stuff that come out of it would be meso. Yes. Yeah. I don't know if this makes any sense. I hope this is making some degree of sense. This is technically a tangent, but I think this is a useful one. Collabs sound like they could be meso and micro. They're both interpersonal and establish a broader dynamic. Who are the people in your network due to the public nature of the interaction? The collab itself, like the actual act of collaborating, is definitely micro level. But yeah, I think you're right. I think the memes and like the narratives and stuff that come out of them are meso. Yeah. Yeah. It's necessary clarifying information, so it's less a tangent and more adding context. Thank you. I feel validated. It made sense to me before, but you explain it in a very common man terms. Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad. Okay, I think we're all on the same page with this. I did want to take the time to explain it though, because like I think this is going to be throughout the paper, and it's also something that can get a little bit confusing if you don't understand what it means. I can put this away now. Thanks to the Institute for Social Capital for providing the infographic. I appreciate that. It was very helpful. Okay, put this away now. Okay. Where are we? Here we are. Okay. Yeah. Also, hi, Red Sharks. Welcome, welcome. Educational content on Twitch. Now that's what I'm looking for. Let's go. Welcome in. Welcome in. I have done, occasionally, I have been known to do papers about neuro. Just saying. Sometimes, every Sunday, I do psychology content. And sometimes if I find a paper, it's a neuro paper. There's a new paper that's come out, by the way. There's a new neuro paper that came out. Which I will very quickly show you, but it's kind of a spoiler, so I don't want to dig too much into it. This is the paper that I found. This is actually peer-reviewed, but I don't want to talk about it yet. There's two reasons for that. First of all, do you see this up here? Do you see this little thingy right here? It says non-commercial, which means that I need to ask the author for permission before I use it. But also, one of the authors does have an email address, and I am debating potentially reaching out to them. So yeah, that'd be pretty cool to have an author on, or like a researcher on stream, or at least like a comment from them, if nothing else, like a statement. Yeah, it'd be cool. We'll see. Yeah. Okay. Right, back to the paper. So we know what belonging is now. Belonging is an experience relating to the desire for interpersonal connection, related to feeling included, appreciated, welcome, and understood. Unbelonging happens through devaluation, exclusion, and invalidation. Very good. Thank you for the follow, Red Sharks. Welcome into the research participation pool. Okay, in the current study, we applied this understanding of belongingness and unbelongingness to across a 3-level framework: macro, meso, and micro. The macro level included abstract communities such as nationality and religion. The meso level incorporates association with collective organizations such as political parties and social movements. Finally, the micro level is situated in interpersonal interactions with friends, family, and local community. Analyzing within these levels elucidated the connections between political and social structures and the creation of collective and individual identities. We appreciated that these were relational, spatial, and cultural dimensions of belonging and unbelonging that were inextricably linked. These levels have been utilized in various studies to gain a deeper understanding of belonging and unbelonging, particularly among migrants and immigrants. We applied a biographical narrative interpretive method of investigation. That is one mouthful of a sentence. Goodness gracious. That is one hecking mouthful of a sentence. We applied a biographical narrative interpretive method of investigation to explore the experience of trans autistic adults, aimed to understand the interconnected nature of life stories shaped by personal perceptions, context, and events. We're going to go more into the methodology in a minute, so don't worry too much about biographical narrative interpretive method of investigation. We'll get there. Utilizing a narrative approach that focused on the voices of trans autistic people allowed us to capture the rich and intricate experiences. We believe that the act of storytelling, both in telling and performing, is central to our humanity, and the narratives that we share about ourselves blend our self-identity and sense of belonging within broader societal contexts. Storytelling transcends mere creativity. It serves a political purpose by giving individuals agency to interpret and share their experiences while asserting their role in the world. The narratives in this study add to existing research on belonging and accessibility within healthcare, education, and the workplace, as well as broader lived experience of trans autistic adults. This research is the first to apply a biographical narrative interpretive method investigation to investigate the experiences of trans autistic adults. Okay, many words in these sentences. TLDR, by my understanding, is they are using a qualitative research methodology, which means that they're focusing on like what's being said by people. And specifically, they're looking at how people tell the story of their lives in order to make those stories central to the research. Yeah. Yeah. I saw you on the front page of Twitch. I thought it might as well check you out. Thank you for dropping by. I do genuinely really appreciate you you coming in and saying hello. Yeah. I'm more into computer science and biology, but I've always been open to expanding my knowledge. Yeah, I mean, okay, so sometimes I do like human computer interaction stuff because I'm a social psychologist. So my PhD is in social psychology. But yeah, I also enjoy kind of like, I like going into disciplines where my knowledge is transferable, if that makes sense. And human computer interaction is one of them. So yeah. But also learning things about other things is just like, learning things about other things is fun, actually. That was such a weird way to phrase it. I like learning outside of my domain, basically. I have a secret real interest in like astronomy and space science. I really enjoy it. Yeah, I like learning things about things. It is good, actually. I enjoy it. At the minute, I'm reading like an anthropological book, which is kind of like one of those things where it's like not my expertise, but it's close enough that I understand it pretty well. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of debating the idea of doing like a book club type of thing once I finish like non-fiction books, just to tell you like, oh yeah, this is what I read in the book. But I need to kind of look into whether that would cause any copyright problems. Yeah. I'm mainly interested in biology, but I also like the not slimy sciences. I like biology too. Biology is really fun. But I'm like specifically interested in biology from like a medical angle. Like I don't get a lot of joy from like the labby stuff, really. I get more interest in like medical practice. I wanted to be a doctor, like a medical doctor once upon a time. I am a doctor. Yeah, but not that kind. Yeah, I got a PhD. I literally like had earlier this week I had a graduation stream. Except it wasn't that kind of graduation stream. It was this kind of graduation stream. Yes. A little bit of clickbait never hurt anybody, right? I have a real interest in astronomy. It's the influence of A the astronomer. A the astrologer, sorry. A the astrologer, that's the one. Yeah. You could do a newsletter. I have been debating doing that, you know. I have been thinking, like, should I do like a monthly newsletter type of thing? Because I feel bad because right now, like, you wonderful subs, you wonderful subscribers, I appreciate you so much, and yet you get nothing. Why do you sub? You get nothing apart from I say thank you once a month to you, and that's it. I feel bad about it. So I have been debating the idea of having like a sub only newsletter, because then you're not really like, it's not really like people are missing out on anything substantial, but I also do want to actually acknowledge you all, you know. I don't know. They get emotes. They do get emotes, I guess. But the emotes are kind of, you know, I made them, so. They're not exactly very professional. Then again, you do get the iconic, you know, golden steak bake emote, so, you know. It's not even a steak bake, actually. Yeah. Yeah, no ads. This is true. The emotes are fun. But, like, I want to give something, like, mildly educational, you know? Meow right back at you, Miria. I agree. Meow indeed. You want some new emotes? Just throw some together? I don't know. I kind of like making them, though. You know? It's
subscribe
like
for no ads. More Pikmin.
Thank you so much for the Prime sub. Thank you. 5 months, let's go. Thank you so much. Yeah, no ads, more Pikmin. This is very true. This is another thing though, like in my regular streams where it's just me, like I'm not as good at doing this in collabs, but like in my regular streams, I always try to like pause the stream and like do the BRB screen when it's ad time. So like you're not even getting a benefit of like no ads, because then you have to listen to Pikmin and nobody wants that, let's be honest. Hi Glim Girlson, hello. How are you? I hope you're good. Also Lana Sphere, thank you for the follow. Sorry I didn't say when you followed. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome into the research participation pool. I hope you like taking part in some research. I'm currently working on a program language that has everything to do with DNA, genes, and evolution. It's like biological working code. Oh, interesting. I like the Pikmin breaks. What's wrong with you? I'm here because I'm contractually required to bully you. It's very true. I think you underestimate our desire for Pikmin. I'm scared. Pikmin is a banger. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure I owe you all like various remixes of it as well, don't I? That's something that I should start working on soon. I haven't because my throat recently has been kind of like, because I think I'm doing that thing where I'm like kind of ill. Like I kind of have a cold, but it's like one of the low level colds that aren't causing you a lot of problems, but I'm just like more congested than normal. Yeah. Anyway, back to the paper. We have a deadline. Okay, so we're oh yeah, we've read all of this. Yeah, they're telling the stories of people's lives because that's good actually. It can it means that their experiences are actually a cool part of the research. Okay, cool. You see my posts in the Discord, graphic design is my passion. They're iconic. Yeah, for anyone that wasn't aware, we do actually have a Discord. If you type !Discord, you can get the link to it. Anyway, so KM, Munday, the first author of the paper, applied the biographic narrative interpretive method during 8 one-time hour-long video online conference interviews. KM, with the support of CM, I don't know who CM is. That's one of the supervisors. Charlotte Morris, there we go. So Morris carefully constructed a single question to begin the narrative portion of the interview process. KM then developed subsequent questions from the topics raised. Positioning the whole story as the object of study as opposed to essentializing participants to their various identities gave participants agency over their story. I'm so sorry. I need to blow my nose. Struggling. I'm not lying when I say I do actually have a cold. I do actually have a little bit of a cold. Okay. So KM then also hi, like me not, hello, welcome. Welcome in. KM, with support from CM, carefully constructed a single question to begin the narrative portion of the interview process. KM then developed subsequent questions from the topics raised, positioning the whole story as the object of study as opposed to essentializing participants to their various identities gave participants agency over their stories. Yeah, so in research about autistic people and about trans people, there's a bit of a tendency to just be like, you are trans or you are autistic. That is like everything. That is you have no other facets to your being. And obviously that isn't how it works. I do in fact have a life beyond just being autistic, and I have a personality beyond just being autistic, and I have experiences beyond just being autistic. So that's what they're trying to capture with this. They're kind of having a few they're having one question to start the series of interviews. They're having a few questions ready to ask if certain topics come up. But for the most part, they're letting the participants lead the conversation. And that's so that they don't fall into that trap of just like being like, you are speaking on behalf of every trans autistic person ever. Because that's a really dangerous road to go down. Yeah. Okay. No full-time autistics left. It's me. I'm full-time autistic. Full-time autistic, 80% researcher, 20% VTuber. Okay. KM also collected data through 5 email interviews created in response to prospective participants' needs. The written interviews used a mixture of closed and open-ended questions. These interviews included pre-written questions with examples and maximum word counts ranging from 200 to 500 words depending on the question. Yeah. So they've done this because for some autistic people, like having that sit down and talking over a Zoom call type of situation is very, very stressful. I'm personally fine with it, like depending on the person. If it's somebody that's really not good at being inclusive, then I don't like it. But like with like a researcher like this, where I knew that they're clearly doing something to try and help the community, like that I'd be fine with. I struggle more in person actually, but like as long as they don't mind that I'm not looking them in the eye, it's normally fine, you know. I'm kind of at the point where I don't care anymore, and I'm just gonna stim and stare off and away from you and never make eye contact. But some people do prefer written, and this is to make sure that they can take part in the research too. And some people are non-verbal as well. Some people like literally can't take part in a spoken interview, so that's also ensuring that they can take part in these interviews in that way. The email interviews did not follow the biographic narrative interpretive method, as this wouldn't have been appropriate. Yeah, because like oftentimes these kinds of methodologies are designed specifically to a certain way of collecting data, so you can't apply it. That being said, I feel like I should quickly look up what this is. The biographic narrative interpretive method. Let's have a look. Biographic narrative interpretive method. A chapter published in Springer Nature. In varieties of qualitative research method. Is this open access? It is not. Okay. So, I've got the abstract though, so at least that will tell us something. As a qualitative research method, biographic narrative interpretive method explores the stories or narratives from interviewees' lives. It's grounded in 3 interrelated concepts. Firstly, the person's whole life story or biography. Secondly, how the person tells it. And thirdly, understanding that narratives are subject to social interpretation. Okay. I understand. So it's focusing on not just one specific facet of their story, but their entire story. So they're trying to get them to share basically everything that they can. It's also focusing on the way that they relay that story, because the way that somebody talks about something can tell you quite a lot. If somebody's like, it can tell you, for example, if someone's upset by certain things in their life, or if certain things were, you know, positive for them. And then on top of that, it's also including the fact that, like, we as a receiver of the narrative will add our own lens on it. So we'll add our own interpretation on it. So if I hear a story and a person is conveying it in a certain way, I'm then gonna interpret the way that they're conveying it. So yeah, it's basically acknowledging that, like, social dynamics are bi-directional, and as well as, like, whilst we're listening, we're also processing. And we're processing it through our own understanding of the world. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I have to get back to work, but it was lovely checking you out, and I'll be coming back for future streams. Thank you, Red Shocks. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. I hope work goes well. Thank you for dropping by. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. I think it makes sense. I don't know. I did look it up. It basically involves flagging specific things when questioning a person. I've added the paper I found about it to the STEM Discord. Amazing. Thank you. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. I'm having a very quick skim read. Okay, it uses a unique interviewing technique to elicit an uninterrupted story from participants. I see. I wonder what that interview technique looks like. Is there any information about it in this paper? Thank you for that, by the way, Flatulence Incarnate. That's very helpful. That's analytic strategy. Practice. There we go. Interview technique. There we go. It's an open narrative interview process. It begins with a single framing question, which is aimed at inducing narrative. It's intentionally broad, but it provides useful means of eliciting data which empowers participants to begin, construct, and end their narrative on their own terms. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that is basically... it uncovers what participants want to say, not what the researcher wants them to say, as is often the case in semi-structured and structured interview schedules. Yeah. So sometimes when you're doing qualitative research, you'll have a semi-structured or structured interview schedule, which basically means you plan out the questions in advance. Whereas it sounds like this is like you have one opening question and then you just let the person talk, and you kind of like prompt them to make sure that all bases are covered. This makes sense. Very good. Okay. I can see why the biographic narrative interpretive method wouldn't work in emails then, because it sounds like it's very much based on like, yeah, like a little bit of like extra, like it's focused on them and them saying what they want to say, but also with a bit of prompting, which is super hard to do over email, I imagine. So this makes sense. This makes sense. Okay. These two modalities had the potential to yield different yet complementary data regarding spontaneity, depth, and narrative structure. Due to this, the first round of analysis, specifically reading the data, generating initial codes, and searching for the themes, was done separately. Once KM and CM were satisfied that reflexive thematic analysis would be appropriate for drawing together the stories from both modalities, the other stage of analysis was completed. Okay. Yeah, because it seems like biographic narrative interpretive method has like its own analytic technique that you're meant to use. So I guess they're doing that analysis first, and then they're using this additional type of analysis, which is reflexive thematic analysis, to kind of like work out the themes from that and also from the email data. That makes sense. That makes sense. I know a bit more about reflexive thematic analysis. I have actually done that before. Yeah, okay. Participants provided demographic information through closed-ended questions on age, pronouns, and ethnicity. The questions on ethnicity, gender, and pronouns were free text boxes to avoid othering already marginalized groups and accommodate people with multiple identities. Study information was distributed to participants 3 days before the interview, as autistic individuals often require more time to process new information. This is very true, and this is very smart. The amount of times where I've taken part in some research and I don't know what I'm doing until I literally get there, and then they expect me to read and understand the participant information sheet and then go into doing the actual research, and I can't focus on the research bit because I'm still processing the information sheet. That's happened many times. So this is a very smart way to do it. Yeah. This allowed participants to process the information and raise any questions or concerns before the start of the interview, in line with ethical and inclusive practices. Due to the nature of the topics discussed in this study, participants received a list of support resources within the participation information sheet and the debrief sheet. They were also able to have a support person, which is like a family, friend, or personal assistant, present at their interview. However, no participants opted to have the support person. Transcripts were recorded through audio and through audio within video interviews and corrected by KM post-interview. Participants were sent their transcripts post-interview for comment or correction. KM used their previous training from their bachelor's and MRes courses to... MRes is like Masters of Research. It's like a specific type of Masters in the UK, which is just focused on doing a research project. Because Masters in the UK, like a standard Master of Science or Master of Arts is course-based. So you do modules. So rather you take classes, you do courses, and you get credits for them. And that's what gets you your masters, whereas MRes is you do one research project over 1 or 2 years, and then that's what is your credits. KM kept field notes throughout the interview process to reflect on their own understandings and experiences. You gotta run. Thank you for joining us, Jade Low. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you for joining us. You do and research, exactly. I'm gonna drink some tea. I hope that's okay. Alrighty, so the study represents an in-depth examination of the individual narratives of 13 trans and gender-diverse autistic adults focused on ages 20 to 50 to account for the late diagnosis of autism and later life transitions. KM collected data from 13 participants who were autistic, either formally or self-diagnosed, and trans adults who could complete an interview in English. Recruiting self-diagnosed participants allowed for a more diverse participant pool, as an autism diagnosis can be unwanted or inaccessible. Interesting. Very, very interesting to include self-diagnosis in this. I think it's also interesting that they haven't included in the demographics whether they were self or officially diagnosed. I think that might have been something that would have been helpful to have, to be honest. Because I imagine the experiences of people that are self-diagnosed versus formally diagnosed are quite different, and the age at which it happens as well is also going to be quite different. So yeah, interesting. It's a red flag. I don't know if it's inherently a red flag, but it would be nice to know how many of each, because if you have 13 participants and then 12 of them are self-diagnosed, I feel that's probably a validity issue, because I'm fully on board with including both diagnosed and self-diagnosed, but I think you probably need an even split roughly to outweigh any potential biases that are going to happen as a result of only including self-diagnosed people. And I read a paper a little while back. I can't remember if I did it on stream or not. I don't know if I did, but I read a paper a little while back that suggested that most people who self-diagnose do actually meet the clinical criteria for autism. I think it was 75-80% of them. But that still implies that at least a fifth of people who self-diagnose are doing so incorrectly. So, yeah. Yeah. Interesting, even socioeconomic conditions too. Yeah, absolutely. I'm fully aware of the fact that I have a good job now. I have a good accessible job, and in part of that is because I have social mobilitied my way into it. Like when I was younger, I grew up in I grew up pretty like in a very working class area. And I was on free school meals. So I sometimes struggled to access healthcare, and it wasn't really until I went to uni and I learned how I was meant to access healthcare, which like turns out there's a whole set of rules around like how you're meant to talk to the doctor and say certain things and stuff. And yeah, it was only when I went to university and I started learning it there, and then also when I worked in the NHS, that I was like, oh, there is a way for me to do this actually. Yeah. So I agree that would probably have a big influence as well. Diagnosis age would also mean a lot. Yeah, I'm thinking this too, because there's going to be people that like come out as trans before they get an autism diagnosis, and there's going to be other people that get an autism diagnosis before they come out as trans, and there's going to be other people maybe that like realize both at around the same time. And I think that the experience of somebody who's like been diagnosed as autistic from a very, very young age is going to be very, very different to someone who is not diagnosed, because my gut instinct would be probably people are a bit more accepting of when a neurotypical person comes out, because people have a bit of a tendency to kind of like assume that you can't make introspective decisions as an autistic person. Yeah. I understand the reasons behind why a lot of people don't seek an official diagnosis, but you shouldn't be included in a study. I mean, I don't know if because they're taking the whole kind of like life story approach to it, and a big factor of this is the like trans and gender diverse identities. I do think that it makes sense in this one, especially if somebody can articulate why they think they're autistic, because they might well go on to eventually get a diagnosis. But yeah, exactly, as you say, Agapop, higher sensitivity, lower specificity with self-diagnosis. Exactly. Like there's a risk that there's a couple of people in here who are self-diagnosed but actually aren't autistic. But then it kind of like goes into the whole question of like, what does it mean to be autistic? And I don't know how you could screen for that. I mean, I guess you could give people like one of the questionnaires, like the autism quotient, for example, but those themselves are not very, sometimes they're not very gender inclusive. So it's like a whole can of worms, and I think they've kind of justified it well here. So I'm accepting of it here. But I do think it's probably something they talk about in their discussion section, let's be honest. Yeah. I guess false positives and self-diagnosis is what I was worried about, but I'm curious about the high accuracy, because this is like a qualitative, like narrative focused thing. I don't think it's going to cause too many issues. Like realistically, I think so basically with qualitative research, you're really drilling down into the details of like what's happened in someone's life, or what's happened in certain situations, or how they feel about certain things. And I'm not sure that, I think that a lot of neurotypical experiences, like neurotypical trans experiences, probably mirror trans autistic experiences enough that it may not be a massive problem in this specific study. But I agree, if it was like a survey study, if you were doing like larger scale quantitative research, it would definitely be a problem. Yeah, but the fact that they do at least have a few people in this one that are medically diagnosed means that we can assume that it's valid enough. Like I think we can kind of accept that. That's my gut feeling. Not in my experience. Oh, you don't think so? Yeah. I think it's the like kind of, how can I describe this? My feeling is that if there is a neurotypical self-diagnosed person in here, the things that they are saying, for lack of a better word, would not be interesting enough for the research question. So it would just not be focused on in the analysis. Does that make sense? I think that's what I'm kind of feeling as somebody who's used this kind of method before. Like, if there's nothing that meets the research question, then you just don't include that bit of data in your summary of the results. Because that's how qualitative works, because you have so much data, you can't possibly include all of it. So you have to be selective about what you do include. Yeah, that's my thinking. It also doesn't help that in the absence of formal assessment, comorbidity issues aren't acknowledged at all. And we do know that some diagnoses do overlap more than would be expected by chance, which also factors into the lived experience of people. Yeah, like ADHD, yeah. Yeah, such a good point. And on top of that, the unwanted or inaccessible is a really big statement there, encompassing stigma against people with mental health diagnoses, expense for getting seen or tested. There's also legal matters, because getting a diagnosis can radically change how you're treated legally with regards to employment, welfare, education, etc. This is extremely true. And to be honest, like, it's one of the main reasons why I decided to get a diagnosis, which is that, like, I might have more, if I have an issue in a workplace, I might have more problems interacting with co-workers to start off with. But my experience is that once I've been around for a while, I gotta say also, this doesn't apply to my current job. My current job is brilliant. They've been always great. But like, say for example, like a typical office job. If I started a typical office job, I might have a bit of friction in the first couple of months. But then after that, once people kind of get used to me and learn to ignore my quirks and understand that sometimes I need to, like, not have the lights on, for example, and things like that, they adapt to it. Like, they stop seeing it as weird and the stigma ends. But it means that if something serious does happen at work, I've got legal protection. And I think that's the biggest thing, because some people are worried that they're going to be discriminated against explicitly because they have a diagnosis. And in my experience, it's the opposite. Like, I had way more problems before I had a diagnosis. So, but then I can also see that, like, you know, if you're trans, then you've already got a layer of, like, being medicalized for something that you just see as an identity. So it really boils down to, like, do you see your autism or your suspected autism as being a disability or as just being a facet of who you are? And, like, for me, it's both. It is just who I am, but also it is a disability because it has caused me a lot of problems in my life, you know? But I know that some people just, like, kind of refuse to see it that way. And it's like everybody should just, like, adapt to the way that I exist. But, like, I have complicated feelings about it, because although I would love to live in a world that is, like, super accessible and, like, I can just exist as I am in the way that makes the most sense to me, I'm also a social creature. I live in a social world, and sometimes the things that make sense for me are extremely inconvenient or even harmful for other people. So for example, if I'm, like, in an office and one person has, like vision problems, and they can't see unless the light's on, and I need the light off because it hurts me, like, how do you make those two things work together? And the answer is that they will get significantly less work done without a light on than I will with the light off. So that doesn't make sense. They would get less work done with the light off than I will with the light on. So I have to sacrifice that, you know? I have to sacrifice it for the good of the collective and also for the good of that person. You have to be a little bit altruistic sometimes. Yeah. It's a difficult topic, but it is a balance. Yeah, sunglasses, exactly. Just put on sunglasses, bro. Unironically though, like, actually, I just move, or I don't like sunglasses, to be honest, because I just don't like them. I don't know why. But I just move, you know? I just go and sit somewhere next to a window and make sure I have the natural light coming in so that it overwrites any other light in the room. And then if it's dark early, then I just deal with it for a few hours, you know? Yeah. I don't know. In my experience, it doesn't matter if you're autistic when you come out. You just have to justify you still have to justify your existence through usefulness. Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, this is justifying your existence through usefulness, I feel like is a kind of like universal experience, right? It's more just like to what extent you have to do it. And for autistic people, we have to do it a lot. Yeah. I get what you mean though. That makes sense. All of these are things that have to be considered when designing research to study a population that is very, very small. How do you cast the net, so to speak? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there is also the thing of like, they might have just not been able to get enough participants if they didn't include self-diagnosed people. Like that is definitely a risk. The pre-coming out phase is weird. That feeling that you don't get a thing everyone else does, but applied to your gender performance. After coming out, I still don't know what I'm doing that everyone else does, and it's a little isolating, but I don't know if that's different from not knowing how to make eye contact. It blends together. Oh, do you think that the two experiences are like analogous to each other? Like, are they quite similar? Because like for me, I've said before, I identify as a cis woman, but like I don't really know what that means. Like I've never really felt like it makes sense as a concept. I don't like when people are like, you know, there's that song that's like, man, I feel like a woman. And I'm like, what does it mean to feel like a woman? That genuinely, that statement means nothing to me. I just feel like a person. I genuinely do not understand this concept, but I also don't identify as like agender or non-binary because I don't feel different to my assigned sex at birth. Because like I have always felt like this and I'm comfortable with it, you know? So it's like this is something that I have always like not really understood. And I've always wondered whether it's tied into like my general alexithymia. Like I also don't really know when I feel happy or sad unless it's like really, really intense. And then I do know. Then I can work it out. But like otherwise, like sensations are broadly all the same to me and also not very intense. Yeah. I think that's pretty much what it feels like to be cis. We don't feel like we aren't who we are. So we don't know what it's like to not be. Yeah, but then I have felt like that in the past. Like when I was a teenager, I did very, very strongly feel like the way that people were perceiving me was not the way that I wanted to be perceived. And it's not that like that. It's not that I ever like I tried changing to be more comfortable and it didn't work. And then it only really went away basically with age. Like as I've got older, I've just kind of been like, well, I don't really care how other people perceive me anymore. So like I think my gender expression from my understanding of how other people apply it to me is that like a lot of people tell me that I come across as quite androgynous, at least in my personality. And then in terms of my like clothing and stuff, it's kind of like I sway between like very, very femme and like kind of tomboy. It just depends on how I feel on the day. But like when I was younger, I really, really didn't like it when people perceived me as being very femme. Like it really, really messed with me. And I tried to make myself more androgynous and the feeling didn't go away because people were still perceiving me that way. And then I just kind of like learned to deal with it, I guess. And now I don't really think about it anymore. I don't know. So that's what I mean when I say like I don't know what it feels like, or rather I don't know what it means. Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. Yeah. Also, hi Famistro. Hello, hello. Welcome in. I hope you're good. You're studying the essentials of psychology. Let's go. Let's go. And also, hi, Twaffles. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome into the research participation pool. And also, thank you for the lab safety register check-ins, Alpha Rox and Comey Belladonna. Hello, hello. Hope you're both good. I hope you're both good. Yeah. Noise cancelling earbuds are a lifesaver as well. I don't like noise cancelling like headphones or earbuds, but I keep thinking I need to get the silicone earplugs so that I don't hear things anymore. I think in that case it's more aligned with neurotypical people. Like conflict resolution is always a factor in relationships. It's just how accepted your requirements are by the broader society and the people around you. Yeah, I think so. I think so. But also, like, if your method of conflict resolution is like smacking people, that's also like, that's not a neurotypical thing. That's just generally bad because you're hurting someone, you know? Like if your method of dealing with something involves hurting another person, then that's not neurotypicality telling you that's bad. That's just like you're hurting someone and therefore they are telling you that it's bad, you know? Some social norms make sense actually. But always be critical of them because a lot of them don't. But a lot of them do when you actually do think critically about them, and that's one of them. To me, my thing with gender was like my other experience of not fitting in, but I don't know how common that is. I see. Interesting. The feminine urge to release robotic horde to march across the globe to bring it to heel, to carve a chip and dale chair in the moon. That is a sis. Oh my goodness. Not my experience, but for AFAB, breaking apart I don't like how I'm seen versus I don't like how women are seen must be hard. It's very, very hard, yeah. Like, I do think that part of it was me adjusting to like, oh, now people see me as a woman, and that means that they're going to be unpleasant to me in various ways. But also, like, that's still me, you know? That's still me. Like that they're perceiving me as a woman, but also that means I am perceived as a woman. And I don't like how I'm seen and how I don't like how women are seen. Like they're massively interlinked as a cis woman. And so I just ignore it now. My friends perceive me like me, and nobody else's opinion matters to me. I don't even care what my friends think. My friends are all very accepting. They tell me when I'm doing something wrong, and I appreciate that, you know? And aside from that, I don't really care. Like, sometimes I ask, and it's just genuinely out of interest. Because, like, I'm not going to change anything. I just am interested, and I also need a bit of feedback sometimes so I can adjust course if I feel like I need to. Yeah. I've been seen by a psychologist and met the criteria and been given a referral to an ADHD clinic for a formal diagnosis with the option of medication. Psychologists here can diagnose you with ADHD, but they can't prescribe medication for it. So if you want to try medicating, you have to be diagnosed by a psychiatrist. I see. Or is it that the psychologist can make the diagnosis and then the psychiatrist can then subsequently prescribe the medication? Because that's how it works here too. So like my well, I actually, I was about to say my autism diagnosis. There isn't really any medication for autism. I was diagnosed with autism by a clinical psychologist, and then separately, at some point in my life, I have been prescribed medication. I got prescribed like anti-anxiety medication for a while. Yeah. Yeah. But that was by a psychiatrist. Yeah. In the US, most psychiatrists would probably accept a psychologist diagnosis and start meds. Okay, that makes sense. Also, hi there. Hello, hello. I hope you're good. How are you doing? Diagnosis, autism. Treatment, autism harder. More autism in this house. I give it a gender envy. What does that mean? Tell me what it means. I don't know what that means. I wish to know. I am fascinated. What is gender envy and how does it feel? Did the head pats work? Did it work or did I just not see it? They worked. Okay, I just didn't see it. Wow, thank you for the 20 stream streak, Comi Belladonna. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Yee, yippee. Okay. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm so confused. Where are we at? We are okay. I'm trying to find where I'm meant to be. Here. Okay. Here. There we go. Okay. By the way, if anybody is interested in psychiatry, we can take what Lev says as good informed information, because Lev, I believe, is a psychiatrist. So go and check her out. Go and check her out. Also, incredible singer. Like 10 out of 10 karaoke streams. Karaoke machines, brilliant. Karaoke streams. Please go check her out. I really enjoy her streams. I like lurking in them. Sorry, I lurk. Okay. So, back to the paper. Let's go back to the paper. Let's stop being distracted. Yeah, exactly. Lurkers unite quietly. Exactly. I'm like such a lurker. I can't stop lurking in people's streams. I just turn up and then I sit there and I say nothing. Maybe I do a little check-in sometimes, and then I disappear into the abyss. Okay, so where do we get to? Non-clinical recruitment allowed for a diverse pool. The focus was on trans-masc, trans-femme, and non-binary participants, although many participants held several other gender identities, such as agender. Following a range of identities recruited in previous studies allowed us to contribute to this emergent area. Yeah. Lurking, true. Sometimes don't tag me just to be a gremlin. That's rude. That's rude. Okay. KM recruited participants between November the 1st, 2021 and April the 30th, 2022 through an advert on private social media groups for autistic people who are LGBTQ+. KM had been an active member of these groups for several years and used their affiliation to gain a convenient sample. KM did not have direct contact with the participants before recruitment, though. Due to the nature of the groups, participants were recruited from across the world. Participants provided written informed consent. No participants refused to participate or dropped out. All participants' data was anonymized, stored and shared in line with the Data Protection Act 2018. The University of Portsmouth and Social Sciences Ethics Committee provided ethical approval for this study. The procedures used in this study adhere to the tenets of the Declaration of Helsinki. The autism community, including autistic adults, have reported opposition to openly sharing data related to concerns about the misuse of data, harmful narratives arising from secondary researchers' interpretations, and the risk of identification, for example, being forced to disclose their autism diagnosis or identity, and the backlash from employers, peers, and the police. These ethical risks are amplified as participants' autism and gender identity are not necessarily public. This is further complexified by the current cultural context of many participants, for example, in the US and the UK, where transgender people's gender identity is no longer legally protected, further legitimizing concerns about employer or police retribution. We take a position in line with leading open research scholars around mandatory data sharing for qualitative research, which is especially important for vulnerable populations with sensitive data. Yeah, this is definitely sensitive data, so this makes sense. This makes sense. Okay. You gotta head out, Cleaper? Enjoy your heading out, whatever you're up to. I hope it goes well. Okay. Yeah, informed consent. Let's go. We love informed consent in this house. Okay. Analysis. KM applied experiential reflexive thematic analysis through in vivo to identify variations and commonalities across narratives using a 6-step approach. Reading the data, generating initial codes, searching for themes, revising the themes, labeling and defining themes, and producing an overall report. So basically, in reflexive thematic analysis, you're looking for themes in the data. So basically things that keep coming up in the data again and again, very consistently. But reflexive thematic analysis specifically is, how can I phrase this? It's kind of, reflexivity is basically assessing how your own beliefs and identities and the way that you interpret data affects the analysis process. So, for example, if you are doing this research as a trans person, then the way that you interpret the data might be very different to the way that a cisgender research interprets the same data. So it's basically acknowledging that like your position in society and the identities that you have and the experiences that you've had in your life influence the way that you look at the data set. So it kind of like accounts for that, not accounts for it, but like makes being aware of that and sharing the kind of influences that might have a very explicit part of the analysis process, which is why people take like field notes to like reflect on what they're doing and things like that. Yeah. Okay. Hi, Katono. Thank you for the lab safety race to check in. I hope you're good. And also Fiona Pre-roll as well. Thank you for the lab safety race to check in. I hope you're both good. Thank you for joining us. Okay. So KM created codes using an open coding approach in which they identified important themes and patterns from the narratives based on their personal experiences while focusing on participants' lived experiences, perspectives, and needs. The analysis, and also Tynek, thank you for the lab safety ratio check-in as well. And thank you for the hydrate, Bjorn Hellgate. Thank you. I will hydrate. Oh, that was loud. Why was that so loud? That was comedically loud. Okay. I've put the lid back on. There we go. Okay. So, and Gilgamesh, thank you for the lab safety ratio check-in. I hope you're good. I hope you're good. The louder the water, the more delicious. It's so true. That's definitely how it works. That is 100% how it works. Okay. So yeah, open coding approach in which they identified the important themes and patterns from the narratives based on the personal experiences while focusing on the participants' lived experiences, perspectives, and needs. The analysis progressed from a description of the data to an interpretation of the themes, informed by wider literature, to a discussion of their implications across 3 levels of belonging and unbelonging. So that was the micro, meso, and macro that we talked about earlier. KM and CM engaged in iterative discussions to ensure the themes were grounded in the data. Together, they reviewed and further developed the codes, sub-themes, and themes to ensure clarity and avoid repetition. CM maintained oversight of the analysis to ensure the process remained rigorous and systematic. Due to the nature of reflective thematic analysis, in which each story or data point is considered to contribute to a saturation point, is not considered to contribute to a saturation point. We recruited a number that suited the timescale of KM's MRes course. That's so valid. Like in qualitative research takes a long time. So recruiting the amount of people that you can actually realistically interview and then analyze the data of is a valid approach. It's incredibly difficult to like get your timescales right because like I've got a thematic analysis project at the minute that's been ongoing for like 3 years. Like it takes so long. Okay. Reflexivity. KM, the principal investigator, is a trans-masc, non-binary autistic person who is studying for their MRes, which is a Master of Research. It's a type of postgraduate qualification in the UK. At the time of data collection. CM, the direct supervisor, is a cisgender neurodivergent scholar with expertise in gender studies and narrative methodology. SK is the current supervisor who has a PhD. For the PhD. Is a cisgender autistic autism researcher. KM reflected on their own experiences in line with reflexive thematic analysis, which considered attending to subjectivity a key feature of analysing data. The participants were made aware of KM's position and identity before the interviews. Yeah. Okay. Welcome in, Asrael. Welcome. What LLMs can't publish research the same day? I don't understand the question. Are you asking whether LLMs can do research, like can do scientific research? Is that what you're asking? Or wait, I'm confused. I'm being a troll. Oh, I see. That's rude. Please don't do that. This research was done by a person. Okay, actually, on a serious note, like you can actually tell very, very quickly if you actually read a paper whether it was generated by an LLM because they're not very good. Like they read, if you don't know the subject matter, then they read like they should make sense. But if you do know the subject matter, then it becomes very quickly apparent that it's just kind of stringing together words that sound like they add up together, but they actually don't. And then it will have like the research methodology was this, and then the alleged results will be like something completely different. Yeah. Don't let Neuro write this type of paper. I know. I could help her though. I could help her write a paper one day. If I was allowed. You never know. There's still hope for me. Okay. Findings. That everybody, we're onto the findings in 2.5 hours. Wild. What's going on? I'm actually sticking to my timeline. Okay. Scientific papers use very uncommon words, more prone to errors. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay. Yeah, burst that words per hour score. Look, I don't think Astral's even here today. I think Astral said that he had to lurk or something. Or he like was lurking for a minute and then had to leave. So classic that he's not going to update the spreadsheet today. But I'll message him and make sure he updates the spreadsheet for today. Yeah, we're having a qualitative time. Exactly. Exactly. Hi, Mylan. Hello, hello. Thank you for the lab safety register check-in. I hope you're good. If any of you aren't already following Mylan, why? They're my model parent. They did my art and rigging on my model. And they're also a psychologist with a PhD who also does educational streams, admittedly on YouTube. The Twitch streams are more like art and games, but go check them out. A good scientist is a trained nose for stinky papers. It's a smell that slowly accumulates from flowery language and unclear methodology. Definitely. Definitely. I like, you know, okay, Mylin and Racco can both vouch for me when I say this. When I find a bad paper, I get angry. Actually, no, I did a stream once where we read a preprint that I thought sounded kind of fun. And it was about like, is Wednesday Addams autistic? And that one, I actually rage quit the paper because I got so angry. I like rage quit the stream as well. And I was like, I have to not. No, this paper's fine. This paper's mostly fine, Mylin. Thankfully, it's mostly fine. The only thing that we've been a bit like uncertain on is they said that they included so it's like autistic trans participants, and they said that they included people who were self-diagnosed as autistic. And like we were kind of talking about like we understand why they did it because it's a very, very small population to draw from if it's just people with a diagnosis. And then also like in some countries, the kind of like medicalization practices mean that they might not want one. But also that means that there is a potential validity problem because there's some people who might not be autistic. They might have self-diagnosed wrong. But yeah, it's a decision that they've made, and they justified it, and I can sit with it, you know? Yeah. I had that experience on stream too. The This Is Your Brain on ChatGPT preprint. I was excited to read it, and as I prepped for stream, I realized how bad it was, and then the stream suddenly was let Racco be reviewer 2 on stream because good lord. Jesus tap dancing Christ is my favorite new blasphemy. That's so good. Jesus tap dancing Christ. I'm stealing that. That's so funny. One of the ones that I always hear here in Ireland is like Jesus, Mary, Joseph, and the donkey. That's a classic. And then there's also like Christ on a bike. That one's really common here too. I've also rage quit a paper on stream. One on why people like horror movies. They didn't actually address the title. Oh, pain. Christ on a cracker. That's so funny. I love that. The donkey one's good. I like the donkey one. I like the donkey one. Hi, Horatius. Hello. How are you? I hope you're good. How are you doing? I hope you're having fun on your adventure if you're still there. I don't know if I can say where you went. I don't know if I should say. Hey, you just got back from MagFest. Okay, I was gonna say, I hope you had fun at MagFest. I hope you had fun. I read a paper by an applicant for a professor position at my university. It was in my area of expertise and it gave me an anxiety attack. It was that bad. Oh no. Oh no. That's so painful. That's so painful. Hi, Leviathan Gaming. Hello. How are you doing? I hope you're good. He took the hobbits to Isengard, obviously. I did. I'm going to talk about it, but today. But yeah, I hope you. Yeah, I hope you. I'm so glad you had a good time. I should have had you a good time. What you want about state? This paper is about the life experiences of trans autistic people. So both trans and autistic, and they're adults. They're all like, I think they're all over the age of 20. I'm just gonna fact check myself real quick. Yeah, they're all 20 or older. Yeah. And some of them were interviews via Zoom, and then some of them were like email interviews. It's pretty cool. It's pretty good. It's like a qualitative paper, so it's yeah, very focused on like the actual experiences, but we haven't actually got to the results yet. We've literally just got to the findings section, but it is also within 2.5 hours, which I think is a record for me because I'm like on a mission. I have a deadline. I'm going to the cinema, so like, yeah, I'm gonna go see a film. So I have to like hit my deadline. So I'm actually reading the paper for once. Nothing like a little bit of external motivation to get you going. What are you watching? I haven't decided yet because I've got one of those like cinema passes where I can basically just turn up. I just know that I'm going. So I could go and see Avatar, but I've heard it's really bad. And then the other option is I could go and see Hamnet, which is the new one that's just come out about Shakespeare and his wife. And then I could also go and see Marty Supreme, which I've also heard is bad. So, but I you know, even when a film is bad, I always still try and find a way to enjoy it, you know? Sometimes it can just be like, I turn my brain off and I just enjoy the process of it. Sometimes it's like, this is bad as an actual film, but if you pretend it's a comedy, it's good, like Twilight, you know? But yeah. Yeah. This is a qualitative paper interviewing 13 autistic, gender-diverse subjects, some self-diagnosed regarding their experiences of accessing belonging, employment, and healthcare. Exactly. Yes. Avatar wasn't that bad. It was just a 3-hour movie that could have been an hour and a half. I mean, I feel like that might be what I need, though. I might need to just, like, go switch off my brain, eat some popcorn for 3 hours in a dark room surrounded by not that many people because it's Sunday, so people don't go to the cinema really anymore on a Sunday evening. That's why I like it. I like going in the week more though. So like normally I will go on one of my non-streaming days because I feel like I have to go repeatedly. Like I have to go every week, otherwise it's not worth me having the cinema pass. I pressure myself to go. It gets me out of the house also, which is positive. Behavioral activation, yippee. So yeah, I like to try and force myself to go after work normally, but I didn't manage to this week because I had so many like life things TM to get done. So I went yesterday and I'm going again today and I can't be stopped. Thank you for the follows, Fidox and Dragonator EU. Thank you so much. Welcome into the research participation pool. Thank you. My chief science officer forwarded a plant tissue culture paper the author kept bringing up cell culture that applies to mammalian, and plants have vastly different regulatory system for cell replacement. And 3/4 of a page I was yelling at it, and then the author stated, and plantae do not have these. I threw it across the room. That's so funny. That's so funny. The movie could have been an email. That's so funny. Oh dear. Okay, I think my thing has finished now. My timer. Wait. My shout out timer should have calmed down by now, so I can finally do this. But please go and check out Horatius if you haven't already. Horatius occasionally, not occasionally, like once a week does like psychology education streams. And no, once a week does psychology open house conversations where they talk about psychology topics, and also sometimes does presentations on psychology 101 topics, and they're always really, really helpful things. You know, it's like useful things that you can apply to your life. So please go and check out Horatius. He's also like an actual mental health practitioner. So that's always good to know when somebody has actual qualifications. And he's also my psychoshi. Also, yes. Yeah. Monthly. Ah, I see. I feel like I just have no sense of time. That's why I committed to occasionally in the end, because I forget. Like, I'm like, has it been 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks? I don't know anymore. It's all blurring together. Oh, you're doing a lecture today? Is today a lecture? That's so fun. That's so fun. Or is it a yapping? 13 isn't almost painfully low. Isn't that typically okay in this type of study? Yeah, no. In a qualitative study, 13 is perfectly fine. Yeah. In a qualitative study, 13 participants is plenty. Because you're focusing on getting the people in the study to produce a large amount of data rather than having a large amount of data as a result of having a large amount of participants. So it's like really drilling down onto the individual experiences of each person. Ah, yes. Next Sunday is the lecture. Okay. Today's the MagFest recap. You literally said that. I apologize. Me actually reading the paper means that I don't have any brain cells. Like, my whole brain cells are focused on processing whatever this is, whatever's going on in here, and I can no longer process what people are actually saying to me. Why am I like this? I blame the autism. Okay, right. Speaking of paper, we should probably actually get back to it because I think I have about an hour left before I need to leave. Okay. So participants shared their experiences of belonging and unbelonging at all 3 levels. So again, that was the micro, meso, and macro levels that we talked about earlier. They discussed their experiences of belonging and unbelonging in their work and volunteering, highlighting challenges in accessing preferred employment, transitioning between jobs, and resigning from positions. Even though many participants lacked necessary adjustments, a significant number were engaged in education or employment, with some being self-employed like Greg and Anthony. Additionally, participants elaborated on their experiences of belonging and unbelonging within educational settings, queer spaces, and neurodivergent communities. They also shared their experiences of gatekeeping and unbelonging in medical and mental health services, including insufficient professional knowledge, limited funding or insurance coverage, and overt transphobia and ableism. Okay. Participants also discussed their feelings of unbelonging in their relationships and family dynamics, which included queer platonic relationships and chosen families, often formed as an alternative to their biological families. KM has presented the additional subtheme of participants' suggestions for trans and gender diverse autistic research elsewhere. Okay, so theme 1, macro level of belonging. So as a reminder, macro is like societal structures. Micro is one-on-one and small group interactions that, you know, like the direct interactions between people. And then meso is the stuff in between. So it is the kind of like significant but not society-wide groups and identities that we hold. Yes. Okay, so part 1, volunteering and work. All participants highlighted issues with gaining support at work. Challenging environments at work, both social, emotional, and physical, were barriers to belonging. These challenges persisted where the participants chose to disclose their trans and autistic identities or not. Annette shared that they didn't tell others about their diagnosis and would often end up with shutdown at the end of the day. Annette explained how she experiences shutdowns, an extreme case of inertia, whilst at work due to being consistently overwhelmed. Annette felt like their needs would not be supported by their colleagues at work due to not being formally diagnosed as autistic. Similarly, Ronnie shared, I've only mentioned my autism in passing at work because I get the feeling that there is too much ableism going around. Ronnie had mentioned to some work colleagues that they were autistic, however, they were uncomfortable coming out as non-binary due to the political opinions of other staff. Toby experienced ableism from their university tutor, who suggested that counselling was, quote, an interesting choice for an autistic person. Okay. This conversation started with an avalanche of different kinds of ableism. Toby felt frustrated and confused that someone with a counselling background would be so explicitly judgmental and ableist. Similar issues prevented Mickey from being openly autistic at work. Autism is less visible when it is visible, people are less informed. Mickey articulated how they felt much more confident and protected in their belonging as a transgender person in their workplace. They said that working at a large corporation with over 5,000 staff members made the process for trans inclusion, such as changing names and pronouns in work documents, easier for the company to manage. He suggested that there was no all-encompassing way to support autistic people at work. Hi, Torgamus. Thank you for the lab safety race to check in. Thank you. And thank you for the hydrate as well. And then also, Yuri Dice Sylvia, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome into the research participation pool. Yeah, I know, right? I literally coughed as I was drinking at the it's an interesting choice. I had that before as well. So after I got my diagnosis, I spent about 2 years working in NHS mental health services. And I for a while I was saying, oh yeah, I want to go into clinical psychology. And I was kind of being told by some people like, oh, are you sure that you have the skills for that? Oh, that's an interesting choice. Like, I've actually heard that exact phrase. I bet, wait, who was it who said that? Toby? Toby. Is Toby from the UK? Let's find out. Toby. Yeah, Toby's from the UK. It's the British interesting. It's the British interesting. It's the British interesting. British people describe something as interesting when we think it's a terrible idea. So if you're like wearing an ugly outfit, a British person will never say to you, your outfit is ugly, because that's too direct and it's rude. What they'll say instead is like, oh, that outfit choice is interesting. Oh, your shirt choice is interesting. Interesting combination of colours you got going on there. It's the British interesting. If a British person says to you that something you're doing is interesting, run. You're in danger. Oh dear. Hi Gideon here. Welcome. Yeah, ouch. I know, right? I know. I didn't go into psychology, but I did get a similar answer when I spoke about the idea of being a psychologist to a counselor in high school. Yeah, I think I also had it as well. I had it as well. I also had it for like medicine. Originally, I wanted to go into medicine, and I was basically told like, nah, don't do that. Like, that's a bad idea. Hi, spooky one. Hello. Thank you for the lab safety race to check in. I hope you're good. Okay, I will hydrate. Don't tote them off. I need to tell them. I need to protect my autistic friends from other countries, from the British interesting, because like for a long time I genuinely thought they meant that it was interesting, and then I would tell them more about it and then they would look at me weird. So yeah, that's the thing. They never say outright, yeah, we think you will burn out in that field, basically. Just go, oh, that's an interesting choice at best. Yeah, basically. Like, I mean, it sounds like the rest of the conversation was ableism, but like, someone could say it in a trying to be helpful way like that. Yeah, where it's like, if my best friend said to me like, oh, you want to go into clinical psychology, interesting choice, I wouldn't take that as being ableism. I'd take that as them being like, that's a bad choice for you, don't do that. But yeah, if it's a a university tutor that then goes on an ableist tirade, that's pretty obvious what that is. I don't think the counselor meant it with bad intent, more of a worry that I would waste years or burn out. Yeah, that's the thing. As long as it's like polite, you know, and as long as they like kind of don't make you feel bad for what you want to do. Because like autistic people can be counselors and psychotherapists and psychologists. I know quite a few. They're really good at it. But yeah, it depends. It depends. It's like down to you as an individual person. I probably could have been all right at it, but like I just didn't want to do it in the end because I found it really like tiring and I didn't enjoy the way that the NHS was treating me as an employee, to be completely honest. Yeah. I need to go to the UK for work. This April sounds like a valuable survival tip. It is. You're welcome. Found an appropriate Freddie Allison short. We'll post in the Discord. Yes, absolutely do. They can still be right for the wrong reasons. Yeah, they can be. They can be. Yeah. Okay. Good, you were able to figure out how working for the NHS is? Yeah, it wasn't for me. I have some stories about the NHS and none of them are good, unfortunately. But actually, no, some of them are good. I really enjoyed the people that I worked with. I had a really lovely team. At both jobs, I had a really lovely team. And they were very good at helping me navigate some health stuff that I was dealing with. And the work felt meaningful sometimes. So those were good. And, you know, sometimes you would, you know, directly see that you were helping people. That was nice. But it was many things with that job. Yeah. You can say it's hard and then it might lead to problems. Saying you're not fit for it is so rude. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I think it also depends on the person that you're saying it to, right? Like if you have a close relationship or if you know that they're not going to be offended by you just being straight to the point, then it's fine. But yeah, I think for most people it's probably quite rude. Yeah, NHS is underfunding and overstretched. Yeah, and there's like this really vicious cycle happening at the minute where like there's not enough, they've not been recruiting enough like professionals. Let's use doctors as an example, okay? So they're not recruiting enough doctors, and then that means that the doctors that they do have to work longer hours and they have to make more sacrifices in their personal life in order to have their job. And then they get burnt out or they get medical problems and then they leave, but then they don't recruit people to replace them. And on top of that, young people are kind of looking at the whole mess that is being a doctor or being a clinical psychologist or a therapist or whatever right now, and they're going, oh, I don't want to do that. That's horrible. And so they're not training in it either. So yeah, I mean, that's not true for all cases. Clinical psychology still has like way more applicants than it has places. But like being a doctor, like there's a lot of people even that are going through medical school here in the like in the UK. It's like an undergrad degree, so you go straight into medicine. So someone starts training to be a doctor at 18 and they're finished by like 22, and then they go straight into their first job as a junior doctor, and they realize that it's horrendous, and then they're like leaving before they're even 25. So yeah, it is a vicious cycle. It's not good. Yeah. Sickness in new doctors has spiked across the board for the past few years too. Yeah, I'm not surprised because it's so stressful. Yeah. It's a mess. I don't have any suggestions for fixing it. I am but a simple social psychologist. Anyway, back to the paper. Okay, so participants often felt like they were missing job opportunities due to the unaccommodating nature of potential workplaces. Unfortunately, many employers lack knowledge of autistic experiences and therefore do not adjust the working environment or expectations for autistic workers. Oh, wait, I've missed a bit. Sorry. Toby shared that they struggle to find and keep employment. I tend to work in 2-year increments in a particular place. I get really burnt out every couple of years and discontent with the work culture. Toby described a persistent dissatisfaction with workplaces and colleagues, leaving them to change jobs frequently. Jay shared similar experiences of unbelonging in workplaces due to unaccommodated sensory and social needs related to fluorescent lighting, too much noise, and other people in the workplace using strong perfumes or deodorants. They often had unmet sensory needs, including the use of fluorescent lighting and staff member perfumes triggering migraines, both of which were ignored or used intentionally to berate them at work. This is an important factor for autistic people as they've often experienced atypical sensory sensitivity, which can either be hypo, hyper, or a mix of sensitivities. Yeah, so it can either be like less than the average experience, more than the average experience, or a mixture of both in terms of intensity. So like for example, some lights I have a hypersensitivity to some types of lights. They like really, really hurt me. Whereas I have a hyposensitivity to taste. I like spicy food because it gives me a sensation, and otherwise I don't like. It has to be very heavily seasoned. Yeah. How about the buildist? Hello, hello. I hope you're good. How are you doing? Okay. Participants often felt like they were missing job opportunities due to the unaccommodating nature of potential workplaces. Unfortunately, many employers lack knowledge of autistic experiences and therefore do not adjust the working environment or expectations for autistic workers. This, coupled with workplace bullying and prejudice, use of overtly complex bureaucratic processes, inflexibility in work hours, and a lack of clear communication, leaves many autistic people unemployed or underemployed in job roles which do not match their capabilities. David and Kim found it difficult to get a job or create a career in the way that they'd hoped. Kim became self-employed to better manage her work environment, and David aspired to be a flight attendant despite reflecting that he lacked some social skills that could be important. Unfortunately, in the UK, just 22% of autistic people aged 16 to 64 are in employment, which is amongst the lowest employment rate for any disabled people in the UK. Employment rates are similar for transgender people in the US, as they are twice as likely to be unemployed, and make 32% less money per year than their cisgender counterparts. Despite higher rates of transgender identities in the autistic community, there remains a lack of research on employment rates and employment experiences of trans and gender diverse autistic adults. The heavy seasoning in Ireland is paprika. I actually don't know if I've had that much paprika. It's normally like herbs. Okay, so here are some representative quotes on the macro level. Interestingly, that section seemed to be very, very heavily focused on the autism side of it and not really so much on the gender side of it. That's really interesting. I wonder why. Okay, so representative quotes. I have already mentioned my autism in passing at work because while it's not explicit, I get the feeling that there is too much ableism going around. My boss is great and I love being there, but I've watched them make fun of neurodivergent people. I also know a co-worker who's a Trump supporter, and while she has been nothing but nice to me, it makes me feel unsafe to fully come out. Another person said, I did tell my university tutor that I was autistic at that point, and I got my diagnosis, and she was like, oh, this is an interesting career choice for an autistic person. And that was the start of a whole avalanche of different kinds of ableism. A third person said, I'm out as trans at work, but not as autistic because autism's less visible. And when it is visible, it's far less informed and there is far less incentive for people to be informed about it right now. As a transgender person, there is more institutional support, but presently as a neurodivergent person, it's highly dependent on your manager. The next quote says, I have a lot of sensory issues. A lot of workplaces are difficult for me because of things like fluorescent lighting, too much noise, other people in the workplace or patrons using strong perfumes and deodorants. I have struggled very much in the employment market as the jobs I'm most qualified for seem to be the ones that are least suited to me in terms of sensory needs. And finally, one person said, I trained as a classroom teacher in my 20s and I went for loads of interviews. I never got past an interview. They always picked someone else. It just didn't work out being a classroom teacher, but it worked out for the best because I'm much happier teaching one-to-one. Trans people also have the usual trouble with finding and keeping jobs. Another thing that sounds hard to separate much. Yeah, I do wonder how much of it is autism and how much of it is their transness. Because like, yeah, so like, this one here where they're saying about, I went for loads of interviews, but I never got past the interview. like that could equally be they come across as like too socially different and that affects their interview, or it could be like their appearance is being judged, you know? But it is really, really interesting that like the overwhelming thing within the macro level of belonging, it's all autism. Like gender isn't really mentioned all that much. And I don't know if that's just because maybe being trans kind of your personal experiences of it are probably like your personal experiences of like trans exclusion are probably going to be more at the kind of like interacting with services or interacting with people level, whereas like it's more easy to say like, oh, the way that workplaces are generally designed across our culture is not very inclusive for my sensory needs. I don't know. Another topic that seems to overlap is it because I'm a minority or is it because I'm autistic? I've heard from people, and probably could be all three that interact too. Yeah, absolutely. Often there is a very high level of interaction between these things. Like, it's never just one thing. Like, there's this theory called intersectionality theory, which basically argues that, like, it's never one thing. It's always a series of identity things overlapping and affecting how, like, you're perceived and how you interact with the world. And that, basically. that's how I see it. Like, it's never... like, I'm never gonna be... my experiences are never going to be just because I'm autistic. It's going to be because I'm an autistic, highly educated woman, you know? Yeah. One parent of one of my children is trans. Once they pass, there's not much difference from a feminine guy. We have a lot of those too, but that's another discussion. So autism being the problem makes sense. Oh, I see. Okay. Interesting. There's rarely a place to remove overstimulation aside from, say, the bathroom in a lot of spaces. Yeah, definitely. I always used to go and hide in the bathroom. That's where I'd normally go for lunchtime. I'd go hide in the bathroom because it was like the only place where I could get away from people and it wouldn't be loud. Okay, so we have another ad break coming up. And I need to go and fill up my drink. So we're gonna do a Pikmin break. I hope you are happy about this. I'm average. I feel average about this. But I hope you're happy about this. Yeah, Pikmin! Yeah! Yes, it is time for Pikmin 1 and 2 and Pikmin 3. Pikmin you play control for the Wii. Yeah. So I will swap over to the BRB screen now and I will see you all in a few minutes. Yeah. See you in a bit. Yippee! Pikmin 4 and 5, Pikmin 6, Pikmin 7, Pikmin 18 million and 11, Pikmin 3 Deluxe and hey Pikmin, new centrifuge to put Pikmin in. Pikmin in your membrane, that's called Pikmin blot. Old Pikmin theorem that scientists forgot. New mechanics, quantum Pikmin. Pikmin chest tube, Pikmin balloon mount, radio sound, Pikmin electrons covalent bond, Pikmin AI published IEEE, slowed down Pikmin due to relativity. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating all it touches. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating everything it touches. Pikmin in your culture. Pikmin in your culture. Pikmin in your fucking culture. Pikmin 1 and 2 and Pikmin 3. Pikmin you play control for the Wii. Pikmin 4 and 5, Pikmin 6, Pikmin 7, Pikmin 18 million and 11, Pikmin 3 Deluxe and hey Pikmin, new centrifuge to put Pikmin in. Pikmin in your membrane, that's called Pikmin blot. Old Pikmin theorem that scientists forgot. New mechanics, quantum Pikmin. Pikmin chest tube, Pikmin balloon mount, radio sound, Pikmin electrons covalent bond, Pikmin AI published IEEE, slowed down Pikmin due to relativity. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating culture where you can see it's contaminating everything it touches. Pikmin in your fucking culture. Pikmin 1 and 2 and Pikmin 3. Pikmin you play control for the Wii. Pikmin 4 and 5, Pikmin 6, Pikmin 7, Pikmin 18 million and 11. Pikmin 3 Deluxe and Hey Pikmin. New centrifuge to put Pikmin in. Pikmin in your membrane, that's called Pikmin blocked. Old Pikmin theorem that scientists forgot. New mechanics, quantum Pikmin. Pikmin chest tube, Pikmin balloon mount, radio sonde. Pikmin electrons covalent bond. Pikmin AI published IEEE. Slowed down Pikmin due to relativity. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating all it touches. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating everything it touches. Pikmin in your fucking culture. Pikmin 1 and 2 and Pikmin 3. Pikmin you play control for the Wii. Pikmin 4 and 5, Pikmin 6, Pikmin 7, Pikmin 18 million and 11. Pikmin 3 Deluxe and Hey Pikmin. New centrifuge to put Pikmin in. Pikmin in your membrane, that's called Pikmin blocked. Old Pikmin theorem that scientists forgot. New mechanics, quantum Pikmin. Pikmin chest tube, Pikmin balloon mount, radio sonde. Pikmin electrons covalent bond. Pikmin AI published IEEE. Slowed down Pikmin due to relativity. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating all it touches. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating everything it touches. Pikmin in your fucking culture. Pikmin 1 and 2 and Pikmin 3. Pikmin you play control for the Wii. Pikmin 4 and 5, Pikmin 6, Pikmin 7, Pikmin 18 million and 11. Pikmin 3 Deluxe and Hey Pikmin. New centrifuge to put Pikmin in. Pikmin in your membrane, that's called Pikmin blocked. Old Pikmin theorem that scientists forgot. New mechanics, quantum Pikmin. Pikmin chest tube, Pikmin balloon mount, radio sonde. Pikmin electrons covalent bond. Pikmin AI published IEEE. Slowed down Pikmin due to relativity. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating all it touches. Pikmin in your culture where you can see it contaminating everything it touches. Pikmin in your fucking culture. Pikmin 1 and 2 and Pikmin 3. Pikmin you play control for the Wii. I'm back. Did you enjoy your Pikmin? I hope you enjoyed your Pikmin. You had your Pikmin moment. I hope you enjoyed. Also, hi. Is it Nothadum or not Herdum? Hello, welcome in. Flashback to Ellie when you're eating canned beans in the bathroom. Look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Beans are a perfectly valid lunch, okay? Can of beans, perfectly valid lunch. It's highly portable. You can eat it wherever you go. It's high protein. It's got a good mix of carbohydrates and fiber and fat in there too. It is a valid one. Ah, another dumb. Okay, I understand now. I understand. Another dumb. Got it. Got it. But are beans a comfort food? For me, yes. Came for gender diverse autism, stayed for Pikmin pot. As the embodiment of flatulence, I'm obligated to approve of beans. Hooray, beans! Oh, every time that you post that, it cracks me up. And every time that I see it in someone else's chat, it also cracks me up. Also, Bombardier, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome into the research participation pool. Thank you. Okay. Gamma fart. Flatulence incarnate. You've got a rival. Who is the true embodiment of flatulence? The only way that we can find out is by a 1v1. Yes. Actually, I don't want to see that. You guys can do that between yourselves. Okay. Also, hi, Chaka. Hello, hello. Thank you for the lab safety register check-in. I hope you're good. Never had canned beans, but only pressure cooked beans from a bag. Okay, pressure cooked beans are also good and valid. Obviously, please soak them before you cook them. But yeah, I like beans. Any kind of beans, I appreciate. Yes. And Perry Artie, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome into the research participation pool. Thank you, thank you. My longest recorded fart was 45 seconds. That's impressive. Great British fart off. Thanks, I hate it. Double blind test. I hate it even more. Okay. Anyway. Even Branston beans. I don't really eat Branston beans. I actually don't really eat baked beans in general. This is my confession. The 24 pack of baked beans that I got during the Sciathon, I've not even finished one pack of it yet. I'm still working through it because I don't eat baked beans super often. I'm more of a black bean kind of gal, you know? I like black beans and I like mostly just black beans actually. But all kinds of beans. I like all kinds of beans, but especially black beans. Yes. Mix the beans into protein shakes. I don't know how to process this. Okay. Right, back to the paper. Hi, Benign Lupin. Thank you for the lab safety register check-in. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're good. Okay, back to the paper. Back to the paper. Okay. So, theme 2, the meso level of belonging, which is in between groups that we are part of, networks perhaps, sometimes even institutions, but not broad ones. Yes. Why am I saying it like that? What's wrong with me? Slightly sprouted beans are the healthiest. Yes, they're so good. The way they have like a little satisfying little crunch to them. Oh, 10 out of 10. I love them. Cook myself some fried potato with spinach, creme fraiche, and onions. That sounds pretty good. I'm debating going and getting a burrito, to be honest, before my cinema trip. Should I get a burrito? Should I treat myself? I've already been to a cafe once this week, but it was very cheap. Yes? Okay. Thanks. I should check if they're even open, actually. I forgot it's Sunday. 'Tis the Lord's Day. Let me check if they're even open. They will be. Okay, I'm getting a burrito. That's it. Decision made. I'll get the five bean burrito with guacamole. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, theme 2, meso level of belonging. So, first part is education and training. Some participants have gone back to college even. Some participants have gone back to college and university to retrain for work. Anthony said, I'm currently retraining in the hope of finding more appropriate work. And Mickey said, I want to go to grad school. Oh, why would you do that to yourself, Mickey? And get an adult MSW, which I think is a Master of Social Work. MPH, I don't know what MPH is, degree, and use that to do some community organizing. There's also been a steady increase in autistic adults accessing college and university using their passionate interests, attention to detail, memory skills, and desire to learn to their advantage. Sam shared, I enjoy learning and studying, and I enjoyed using it to live somewhere else for 3 years. Annette, Mickey, Sam all plan to undertake qualifications to improve their job prospects. Sam saw university as a way of making friends as well as increasing their knowledge and work-based skills. However, they were concerned about transferring their disability benefits and medical needs to another country. Again, this bit is entirely autism. There's like not a single reference to gender in there at all, which is interesting. But I guess universities are generally fairly accepting places for gender diverse people, so maybe that makes sense. I don't know. Oh, Master of Public Health. I see. Yeah. I gotta say, as somebody who did basically just get a PhD in their special interest, I endorse this approach. No, it wasn't the British interesting. It wasn't. It wasn't. The gender diversity was clickbait and it worked. It was autism all along. I don't know how to tell the difference. So British interesting is like, there's actually multiple types of British interesting. I'm sorry, it gets worse. There's multiple types of British interesting, okay? So if it's like sarcastic, then that means it's the British interesting. If it's just like flat, or like, if it, so okay, so like British interesting would be like, that outfit choice is interesting. It's like the pause beforehand. And then like, or like, it's certainly interesting. There's like a sarcastic element to it. There's often a pause before it. That's the British interesting. That's the one that you need to be like, red flag, like, uh-oh, something bad is happening, okay? But like, if somebody's just like, oh, interesting, then that's just like a British way of just indicating like, I see. We like, it, no, for some reason, we don't say I see very often. Sometimes people do, but not very often. It's normally like, oh, interesting. And it's just like a way of responding. I don't know why we're like this. Why do we find everything interesting or sarcastically interesting? Why? You know what? Actually, I might actually just pull up the. I might genuinely just pull up the short that Bobo has found. I might just do it. We're gonna be a react stream for a second if that's okay, everybody. Because I think I know the short and it's very useful. It's a good short. Not there. Okay, I think Bobo sent me this short in our DMs at some point. Let me find it. Okay. Has link. There we go. Okay. Now I need to scroll because we send each other. I see is the American interesting, but which interesting? Which interesting? Do you see the issue here? Oh no, okay, the one that Bobo sent me before was about sorry. Oh, this is maybe actually, okay. Is there an interesting here? Freddie Allison. Interesting. Oh, he just sent one in general chat. Oh, amazing. Did I just not see it? Am I just a bit blind? Could this possibly be what's happening? Oh, yes, I am indeed just a bit blind. Okay, I see. Okay, very good. Okay. I'm just not paying attention. Okay. Is this the one? Ah, yeah, okay. Right, we'll put this away for a second. We'll put this on. Let me just make sure it's the right one. Okay, right. Okay. So, how loud is this? But did this illustrate the British interesting? Here you go. Here's the link for it. What type of interesting was the first one? It was the British interesting. So if we're like insulting you, it's like, oh, interesting. And there's always a pause before the interesting. We can also, but he said like, it basically it's framed as a compliment. So like you wear like an outfit that you love and then someone will be like, wow, that's a brave choice. And there's always like a pause, you know? There's a perfectly timed pause that makes it clear that it's being rude, but you can't be actually rude because that's not British. You have to be polite. I'll communal complain with anyone. Maybe you're just really British. Maybe you just like everybody. Who knows? Who knows? Do you hate us since you never insult us? I just insult you behind your back, which means that I do like you. Also, I do the self-depreciation thing. Self-deprecation thing, sorry. I do the self-deprecation thing. What was the other one? And I communal complain all the time. So, but I'm just not really an insulty kind of person because I'm not very inventive. So I just end up being like, haha, you absolute menace to society. Which doesn't work very well. I'm not good at insulting people. But I'm very good at being insulted. So I fit in perfectly well in Ireland because they love insulting English people here. Anyway, back to the paper. Oh dear. Okay. So, what are we doing? We are continuing the paper. Cool. Okay. But yeah, they saw university as a way of making friends and to improving their employability and also potentially getting a qualification in their special interest. And the last one is particularly relevant to me personally as somebody got a PhD in my special interest. But like I said, not really any mention of gender. Interesting. Some Americans do that too. I apologize. I need to cough. Give me a second. I'm fine. I mean, some Americans do that too. My friends would revoke my analogy privileges or plan to build a time machine to convince my parents not to teach me to speak. That's very funny. The lab coat is an interesting choice, would be an example. Exactly. Yeah. The lab coat on your scientist design. Interesting choice. I wonder where the tangent count is at. It's probably not as high as normal, but fairly high. Thank you for the head pat. So bragging to Brazil. Thank you, thank you. Bless your heart is a bad thing. I don't know. I don't know, and now I'm scared. Okay, so gender identity healthcare. Various participants spoke about their gender identity healthcare goals, including top surgery, which was Anthony and Greg, and transitioning almost fully except for bottom surgery, which was David. Anthony shared that he experienced gatekeeping and unbelonging in gender identity healthcare due to his diagnosis of autism. The continued pathologization of autistic people can cause many trans and gender diverse autistic adults to disengage entirely from gender identity healthcare. Anthony and Mickey experienced healthcare providers who treated them like children as soon as they were made aware that they were autistic. Healthcare, yeah, yeah. Obviously, again, cis, so I've never experienced this in the context of gender identity healthcare, but I have experienced that in the context of healthcare more broadly, where like they kind of assume that you can't understand and make decisions. And then I've had a couple of incidents where I've had like a really awkward progression of like, you know, they're like, oh, you're autistic. And then they start using really simple language. And like, I know full well what they're talking about. And then they'd be like, so what, you know, well, they're like, you know, just doing the kind of holistic assessment bit. They're like, so what do you do? Or like, they'll be like, oh, are you very stressed at the minute? And at the time I would be like, yeah, because I'm a PhD student. And they'd be like, oh. And then they would stop treating me like that. But that's a privilege that I have as a result of my educational level. I'm sure a lot of people don't have that. To be honest, gender care is like that in general if you get the wrong person. That also doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. I hate it though. I hate it, but it doesn't surprise me. Yeah. But I can imagine that, yeah, this is probably, so this must be one of the areas where there is a real intersection then, if that's kind of like the default state, and then it's like intensified by being autistic. Yeah, oh dear, oh dear. Tunius Junior, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome into the research participation pool. Welcome, welcome. Gender care in Europe sounds like a nightmare from what I hear. So many hoops, even if you're not autistic. I think that's the same across the board from what I've heard. From what I've heard, I shouldn't laugh because it's not funny, but it was like a nervous laughter. I've heard that gender care generally is not great across the board, wherever you are. And it's quite sad that, you know, it's not great in Europe, and that's still one of the better places, depending on where in Europe you are, obviously. Like the Netherlands, probably one of the better ones, for example. Still not amazing. Poland, we don't talk about Poland. We don't talk about Poland. Anyway, okay, healthcare practitioners frequently lack sufficient training regarding the experiences of autistic individuals and those who are transgender or gender diverse, including the suitability and availability of care. Practitioners may understand autistic or trans healthcare needs, but they seldom recognize how these categories can intersect to form unique healthcare needs. Participants shared that some of the practitioners understood the participants' autistic needs, but were unwilling to help with their gender identity needs. For example, Anthony says, there's so much gatekeeping when it comes to being officially diagnosed as autistic and medically transitioning, and I found that my psych, for one, so I assume that means psychiatrist, for one, doesn't feel comfortable assisting with the other. This meant that Anthony had to finance additional sessions at several $100s with psychiatrists to get the care that they need. Greg also experienced additional costs to their healthcare and explained that they were unlikely to access gender identity healthcare because top surgery is too expensive. Participants living in the US shared their struggles with administration and bureaucracy within privatized healthcare. Some participants also felt unbelonging due to sensory and social overwhelm within medical settings, including Scott, who explained that gender identity healthcare settings were too busy and sensory overwhelming. He described the setting in which he could find help as places which added to his overwhelm. Quote, I'm autistic and I'm in a building with literally thousands of other people. I'm getting overstimulated. I'm getting overwhelmed. My anxiety is shooting through the roof. Greg shared a similar experience. Hospitals are very sensory, overwhelming spaces. Being in hospital for even a day feels like I may as well be climbing a mountain. Navigating gender identity healthcare is demanding. Patients need to organise appointments, admin, and correspondence whilst experiencing highly emotional personal process. Greg explained that he would need significant help from hospital staff to be able to access gender identity healthcare. Greg and Scott both experienced unbelonging at hospitals due to sensory violence, despite living over 8,000 miles apart. Some participants gave recommendations to improve access to and belonging to gender identity healthcare. Scott suggested that healthcare practitioners should understand how things intertwine and how to interact with neurodivergent people. Similarly, Toby shared that they just wanted to be listened to and taken seriously and have my gender identity recognised. Yeah, I gotta say, like, yeah, hospitals, I know why they're set up in the way that they're set up with, like, all of the plastic, because it's, you know, my brain has stopped working. Give me a second, I'm gonna drink some water. Okay, attempt number 2. I know why hospitals are set up like that with all of the plastic, because it's often like antimicrobial surfaces, right? They have so much plastic everywhere, and the bedding is like antimicrobial bedding and stuff like that. Like it's for sanitary reasons. It makes sense, but like it feels bad. It feels bad to have that on your skin, and then like the consistent bright lighting that they always have throughout hospitals as well. Again, like needed so that, you know, doctors and nurses and occupational therapists and all of the other professionals can see what they're doing, which is quite important, but also painful, bad. And then they're like so loud. And again, there's reasons for it. They like some machines need to be loud because they need to get the professionals' attention. Other machines are just loud by the nature of how they work, and the machines need to be there because they're there so that people are safe and healthy, or at least as healthy as they can be. And yet, so much pain. So not 0 out of 10, not a good place. So yeah, I understand. And you know, if you're having gender affirming healthcare, a lot of the times that does involve surgeries, or it involves like going into a hospital for clinic appointments, and that's unpleasant. That's unpleasant. And then like add on to that the kind of like sensory pain of like post-surgery as well. Like I've never had a major surgery. The worst I've ever had was like having my wisdom teeth taken out. But it was like a, you know, like the surgery type because they were impacted. And like the sensory experiences I had after that were very not good. And I imagine they're only worse if you have a major surgery. So yeah. Yeah. All of this adds up, I think. All of this adds up. It makes sense. Okay. Neurodivergent groups and spaces. This bit's interesting. This bit is very interesting. I think this might be the part that's like the most interesting, to be honest. Because like so far, it's not been not interesting, but it's more like I think some of this is kind of like general autism stuff. Whereas like this part might be where the intersection is a bit more apparent, I think. The worst with a major surgery. Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine. I cry at the thought. Okay. Most participants shared that they enjoyed friendships with other autistic people to whom they were often drawn. I am fortunate to have an excellent group of friends, and it turns out that we're all neurodivergent, says Anthony. And Robin says, a lot of my friends are autistic or otherwise neurodivergent. Toby shared, people I have fixations on tend to be neurodivergent, which happened even before I had my diagnosis. So Anthony, Toby, and Robin all explained how they were drawn to other neurodivergent people, and they described an intrinsic ability to recognize similar others and feel belonging with them. Autistic adults have been found to interact with other autistic people more readily than they do non-autistic people, seeking out others with whom they share identity and culture makes it easier for many of them to interact in ways that support their needs and interests. Belonging, related to an emotive feeling of recognizing yourself and others, can enable autistic people to develop a better sense of self-worth. Hi, Trustira. Hello, hello. Thank you for the lab safety register check-in. I hope you're good. Same. All of my friends, one person, are also neurodivergent. I gotta say, I am actually a relatively sociable person, and the people that I interact with the most are overwhelmingly neurodivergent. There's so many of them. Like, genuinely, I think that out of the people that I would consider my friends that I interact with fairly regularly, like, for me, fairly regularly is anything up to like once every 6 months. Although actually I've had friends where I've just disappeared on them for a couple of years and then I come back. Okay, you know what? I take it back. Friends, no temporal limits, okay? I am a friend. If I am a friend with somebody, it is regardless of the time. I have no sense of time. Sometimes I forget that it's been a few years. But I would say probably, I don't know exactly, but I would say at least 3/4 of my friend group are neurodivergent. Yeah. It's funny, a lot of my longtime friends turned out to be queer and or neurodivergent. We bobbed together. Yeah, that's my experience too. So like I have friends who like, we've been friends for ages and it turns out that they've had a diagnosis or like a very close family member has had a diagnosis. And I'm like, well, these things are genetic, just saying, hint, hint. So yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Reject temporal limits. Friendships surpass the boundaries of time. It's so true. It's so true. I agree on that. Some people I speak to daily or monthly or even yearly. My worst record I think is like 4 years, and then I just message them again like nothing had happened. And to be fair, they started talking to me like nothing had happened. We were both like it. The friend group for the little angry Korean woman have a group chat, and one of them was like, hey, I am the token neurotypical, and I went and the angry little Korean woman showed the immediate, honey, I'm gonna hold your hand. Yeah, I've got a couple of friends that are like, haha, I'm the neurotypical person. And I'm like, you're the neurotypical person at present. Or so you think, on paper. Oh dear. I think this is even used as a hint in medical studies. Do most of your friends have an autism diagnosis? That's so funny. I love that. I love that. Sweats. Wait. I fixed my toggles. That's right, everybody. I fixed my smug toggle. But I can also do suspicious. Oh dear. Neurodivergent folk have no concept of friendship or relationship decay or expiration. I could send or receive a text from someone from long ago and still be happy about it. Yes, exactly. And it's so difficult to explain this to people that like are neurotypical and have the concept of time. For me, it's just a concept of time thing generally. I just do not have a concept of time. I don't know where I am at any given moment, and I don't know how long it's been since the last moment, and I probably was at university 3 days ago or something. I don't know. So smug. Where's the smart lady hiding? There's no smart lady here. I'm just stubborn. I got my PhD entirely through being autistic because I was too special interesty and too stubborn to say no. Ironically, no one here can see the difference in these toggles. I disagree. Autistic people are very good at assessing emotion in cartoon characters. We're very good at recognizing the faces of cartoon characters. This is one of the reasons why I chose to be a VTuber instead of being a face cam streamer. Aside from the fact that I look very uncanny valley in general, my face is very strange. Also, like, I feel like I'm expressing a lot while I'm VTubing, but I still had to turn it up. Like, I had to turn up every single dial in my VTube studio to make it register that, like, I can in fact pull this face, and also this face, and also this face. I had to turn up all the dials because I don't express very much, and my default is just kind of like oh dear. Yeah, exactly. You can all see the difference because I'm a cartoon character. Oh. I love the Wikipedia page on face blindness mentioning the cartoon character bit. I actually have not read the Wikipedia page. Or maybe I did a long time ago and I've forgotten, but I love that they mention it. That makes me so happy. You've got a perfectly normal face. I don't mean my anime face. I mean my flesh pilot. The flesh pilot has an uncanny valley kind of emotional response that makes a lot of people nervous, actually. Yeah. I can see the difference, but if it was on a real human, I'd not see it. Yeah, exactly. I feel that. I try to use the anime face emotes to basically cue as a cue card of like, this is what the slime is feeling while doing my videos. This is smart. This is smart. How are you feeling today? I'm feeling like this. Is it clear how I'm feeling today? Is it clear how I'm feeling? Oh dear. Oh wait, you're Badger. Oh. Badger, have you ever considered that maybe that you didn't feel nervous because you're like me for real? Like, did you ever consider this actually? You know what I said about friend groups all being neurodivergent? Oh, dear. Also, you need to find a way to get Badger into your Twitch name because I keep forgetting that you're Badger. Please work this out. This is upsetting me. Even if you change it to Benign Badger, please. Please, I'm upset. Oh dear. Concern? You should be concerned. Why is Twitch fighting you? I'm gonna fight Twitch. I will personally go to John Twitch's house, and I don't know what I'll do actually. I've got nothing. I will wield my son in a threatening way. Oh dear. Okay. Where do we get to with this? Where do we get to? Okay. Okay. Second fight after John VTuber lined up. Exactly. No, it's the third fight. Because remember, we have to also do the manager fight to the death as well. So I'm fighting John VTuber, and then I'm winning, by the way. And then Titan is gonna fight Zoe to ensure our victory. And then I'm gonna go and find John Twitch and cause a scene. Yes. Oh dear. Oh man. Okay. Right. So where are we at? Where are we at? When are you gonna fight? Whenever Titan sorts it out, because that's a manager's job, right? Is to organize the influencer boxing ring battles. This is definitely his job. Lacking concept of time. Well, it seems like the relation gets toggled between paused and resumed state. It doesn't experience passage of time because the pathway doesn't stay infinitely active, only when it is needed. So you keep to feel the same way like you did a long time ago. That's such a good way to describe it, actually. It's like object impermanence, but for a relationship. Exactly. Yeah. So you have to coordinate a whole tournament at this rate. You know what? It's fine. I accept it. We'll do it for charity. VTuber boxing in a Super Value car park. Respectfully, I think my money is on John. How dare you? I can be threatening if I want to. I could be threatening. I just have never chosen to. Time is a measure of change, and I don't think our relationship has changed. So time effectively hasn't passed. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so paper, because there's only 15 minutes left and we need to read. Let's read. Okay, so Kim shared how she made connections at a yearly autistic learning and social space, which she went to regularly. She also shared that she was part of a theatre group for autistic people, and before that, this is a quote, before that, I can't say that I did have many friends, especially when I was a younger person. I didn't have any friends at all. Kim has created relationships and connections with other autistic people, including her wife. Quote, my wife is also non-binary and autistic, and attends autistic groups and conferences. She describes having issues with establishing and sustaining relationships before she was diagnosed in her early 40s. Kim now belongs to autistic-only groups and spaces, making it easier for her to connect and belong with others. Ronnie has similar experiences. Quote, I'm in social media groups for both autistic and trans people. It's great that I can find a community of people like me and know that I'm not alone. Kim and Ronnie both shared that they had a few friends before joining online and in-person autistic groups. They explained how they felt a sense of belonging within LGBTQ plus autistic spaces, including those at autistic conferences. Quote, the LGBT plus meeting was like a support group. It felt amazing that there was so many of us in the same room. However, not all LGBT plus spaces are autistic friendly, as Sam shared. Quote, I used to get so drunk because I was in physical pain from my chronic conditions, but also because of the sensory blur awfulness that was going on, that was just going out clubbing as an autistic person. Sam explained how they felt unbelonging in LGBT plus nightclubs as their sensory sensitivities were not supported. They suggested that it was more socially acceptable to be overly intoxicated than to ask for a sensory break. I see. Interesting. Okay. So, let's have a quick look. Is these just the longer versions of the quotes? Yeah, I think so. You can read these, they're on screen. I'll give you like a moment to skim through them. But these are like the direct quotes that they've like the full quotes that they've used in the writing there. So there we go. You can see that a bit better now. I'm hydrating. Have you met John Twitch? I've never met John Twitch, but I know that I can take him on. I know I can 1v1 him on Rust. Quick scopes only. Discord exists for us to make friends. Exactly. It's so good for it, honestly. Okay, this has now been up on screen for a while. I am moving on. I'm not reading all of this. I think the quotes can be like they're very, very good. So if you have a moment to like go to the paper and read them, please absolutely do. I'm just thinking in the interest of time, I'm just gonna power on to the micro level, if that's okay. Because I think this isn't too long. And then it gets to the discussion. Which we will also skip because there's no, like, I don't know if there will be anything. Which Rust in Modern Warfare 2, the original Modern Warfare 2? The map. Yes. Okay. The micro level of belonging. So that was the individual interactions and small group interactions. So, first of all, relationships and social connections. All participants spoke of experiencing social anxiety, especially when meeting new people, as well as difficulties in creating and maintaining new relationships. I don't have a great history of keeping friends, says Greg. Some participants shared that they prefer to follow their interests and hobbies rather than connect with others. Quote by Derek, my favourite hobbies are things that I can do by myself. I've always had different interests from other kids, and I was happy in my own company. And then another quote from Annette. I like to go to concerts and museums, but often by myself. I find it hard to cope with what I see and who I am with at the same time. Derek, Greg, and Annette preferred to socialise one-on-one, online, or around their specific interests, which have been found to improve autistic adults' well-being and satisfaction. Toby shared why they preferred one-on-one social situations. Quote, I struggle socially in any context that isn't one-on-one. Because I do experience situational mutism in groups, it's quite humiliating. Toby was so anxious about their situational mutism that they had yet to try autistic spaces. Quote, even though I'm aware that it could be quite different amongst autistic people, I still have that kind of reticence. Reticence. The word that I don't know. I know it, but I've never read it out loud before. I've never heard it pronounced. Despite high levels of social anxiety among participants, many spoke about the great love and belonging that they felt in their close relationships, especially those that they had with other autistic people. That was Kim, Anthony, Toby, and Derek. Autistic people often thrive in relationships where their unique ways of expressing themselves are acknowledged and valued. Its reluctance is awkward cousin. I see. Yeah, okay, so this thing about, like, selective mutism, or situational mutism, sorry, like, I kind of get that, because sometimes when I'm really, really stressed, I also have the same thing happen to me. But I think that the anxiety is separate to the autism, in the sense of, like, I do think that people who have had bad experiences as a result of being autistic definitely can develop social anxiety. But my experience is that, like, a lot of it is more, I don't really know what the rules are. I don't know when it's okay for me to be, like, quiet. I don't know when it's okay for me to not say anything. And my way of dealing with that personally, like, this isn't necessarily advice, it's just how I deal with it, is to just tell people. Yeah, I just tell people, like, oh, I might be a bit quiet for this, and this reason, and that's fine. Like, once people know, it's okay. People aren't stressed. Yeah, but I don't think that's directly a cause of, like, I don't think that's directly causal by the autism. I think that's more around having the confidence to be able to advocate for yourself. And I think this is kind of tapping into something, which is that, like, people who are trans and gender diverse probably have very different experiences of, like, advocating for themselves. Like, I am a fairly small, fairly non-threatening little woman. So it's fairly easy for me to advocate for myself. People aren't, like, offended or upset or threatened if I do. But I know that that's not the case for everybody. And I imagine that maybe certain, like, trans identities or certain gender expressions might make it more difficult for people to advocate for themselves in that way. So yeah, I think that's an interesting point to kind of, like, pull on a little bit, I think. Yeah. I'm sorry, I need to blow my nose again. I'm like I'm struggling. Wah. Okay, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay. Right, next. Is this the last section? It is. Okay. Next. Finally, creating chosen family, micro level part 2. Most participants were happy living in non-traditional households or family structures, including living alone, living with animals, or living with a partner and their fur baby, in quotes, which is their cat. Trans and queer people frequently establish family connections outside of their biological families, often as a result of estrangement following their coming out, or because they do not conform to traditional concepts of the nuclear family. Communal living and creating a chosen family were an aspiration of Derek, Mickey, and Toby. Toby spoke about their understanding of family. Quote, not having a typical family structure is something that I work towards. Friends are the center of my relational world in a lot of ways. They shared that they had started to create their own chosen family with their queer platonic life partner, but wished that others, including their biological family, would appreciate the importance of these connections. Toby has a keen sense of belonging with their friends and believed that their experience of friendship was different from most people. Yeah, okay. Derek showed an interest in adopting or fostering children. Quote, quite like to have kids. It's something that I have had to think about before medically transitioning due to the fertility issues that come with testosterone. Derek spoke about the choices of fertility provisions, including whether to freeze his eggs due to infertility issues which can occur while taking hormones. He explained that he may adopt or foster a child in the future, but he didn't want to carry or birth a child. Mickey aspired to have a chosen family. When I'm older, I would love to be able to foster and adopt kids. Fertility preservation is an important choice for trans and non-binary individuals undergoing hormone replacement therapy and or gender-affirming surgeries. At present, there's limited information regarding the effects of testosterone therapy on future fertility, leading to the absence of a well-defined optimal period for pursuing fertility preservation. Additionally, research on live birth rates associated with preserved eggs is scarce, and the procedure for egg retrieval is invasive, potentially leading to emotional distress for patients. Sam described the challenges faced by themselves and their friends simultaneously through the UK and beyond. Quote, my friends are all over the world and are dealing with very similar issues to me, whether it's healthcare issues or funding living space or care. They aspire to create a community living environment in which members could share resources, knowledge, and skills so everyone could invest in their community. Quote, I would like a commune for all of my sick, queer, and disabled friends. We could all just move in together and help each other. Sam shared their hopes of living in a polycule in a family with several partners so that they could support each other and help raise any children they had. They spoke about coming from a large family and how that had benefited their sense of belonging as a child. Quote, the only reason why I would ever even have children of my own is if I had like a big community of people to help. Other participants shared their experiences of neglect, abuse, and family estrangement and how this culminated in unbelonging. Mickey reflected on going to a friend's house for Thanksgiving as they felt uncomfortable going to their familial home. They since experienced some abuse and neglect issues, which meant that they no longer spent time with their biological family. Similarly, Ronnie shared that their family were, quote, too indoctrinated into their religion to look past the intolerance it teaches them. Regrettably, autistic people are at greater risk of experiencing abuse and other traumatic events, as are trans and gender diverse people, with the potential risk of abuse and victimization higher still for trans and gender diverse autistic people. Okay. Wanting to live in a commune with your trans friends is such a common wish in my experience. This is like super interesting though, right? Because one of the like key stereotypes about autism is that like you are withdrawn and you don't like interacting with people and you want to be on your own. And like clearly that is true for some people, but this seems to be like a really common theme throughout everyone is that like they want a community, they want a commune, they want like lots of people all living together. And that is like directly opposed to the kind of common cultural narratives around autism. I don't know if this might specifically be like a trans thing though, because like I don't want a commune. That sounds like my idea of hell. Like I could barely, sometimes I could like, okay, like I coped pretty well living with Hosmod because we had pretty similar like routines and rhythms, but like I'm on my own, I'm living on my own now, right? And it's also nice. And I think that the idea of adding more people and like social dynamics into my living space where like I often need to like be decompressing from things, that sounds horrifying. I am this stereotype, basically. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I am the stereotype. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's fairly common in the LGBTQ plus community, perhaps because many of us lose our family. Yeah, that's very fair. That's very, very fair. Yeah. And I kind of get I kind of get it to some extent because like don't I don't have contact with one half of my family. I've like a really, really good relationship with my dad's side of the family though. But like my mum's side of the family, I don't talk to any of them, including my mum. And for a long time, I felt like no, even now, like I have a lot of friends who I consider basically as being family because they've been there for me when I needed people. Um, and I guess that's the chosen family thing. Like if I had like I mean I went to go and see friends during my like my Christmas travels, my Christmas and New Year travels because I was like, well, you go and see the people that you care about at the holidays and I care about them, you know? So yeah. I wonder if I would really like to dig into this more because this is really interesting. This is really, really interesting actually. Hmm. Hmm. Guess they benefit from not clashing with their family as easily from a structural perspective. Yeah, no, cis people definitely do. Yeah. I mean, I don't get me wrong, like, yeah, it still happens to cis people. Like, there's a lot of cis people that don't interact with one part or all of their family. Like, there's a lot of estrangement and abuse and neglect for cis people too. But there's not the like. I should say cis and het people. I should clarify that. For cis het people, there isn't the like political / religious side to it that can cause that problem a lot of the time. Yeah. I'll happily see people on a regular basis, but required community sucks. Yeah, I don't. I like being able to see people at reasonable intervals. But I also need to come home and lie in bed and not talk to anybody for a while. Yeah. And sometimes I don't even actually I say that most of the time I don't even lie in bed and do nothing. Like for me rest is like doing something but on my own. So it will be like writing something or making a zine or reading a book. Like it's kind of active because if I just lie in bed and do nothing, I often get very tired. Like it makes me more tired and I get more stressed and I don't like it. So, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. There's lots of different ways that you can rest and they're all valid. Communes are all well and good, but when the arguments start about cleaning rotas, yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, I think a commune where everybody's like happy to be there and equally in on it, if that makes sense, I think that's fair. Maybe people are less likely to argue. I don't know. But yeah, I've been in student accommodation. It wasn't fun. Yeah. I've known groups of people who actually wait, hang on. We've technically finished all of this now. So I'm gonna put this back up here like this. Yeah, you know what, actually, it's time. It's time to put this away. It's time for me to approach in a threatening manner. It's time for Sullivan to go away. Go to sleep, son. And it's time for me to put my wand down. Okay. I've known of groups and been with groups of people wanting to go and form a commune. Some are queer, some, let's be honest, it's me, a lot were autistic, and some were trans. So it's the same wants keep showing up. It's like jazz, basically the same song, but the players bring their own interpretations. That's really interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Maybe I just haven't, maybe this is just less of a, maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe like communes are just less of a thing in the UK. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe we're just really antisocial in the UK. That would add up. Oh dear. No, I'm not going to end the stream mid-sentence. Don't worry. I'm not going to end the stream mid-sentence. I'm going to wrap up now, though. So, yeah, we finished the paper. Thank you, everybody. We're going to go right into Shumimi. Yippee! Shumimi is debuting her new rigging on her model. And she's lovely, and she's so nice. And she used to be studying neuroscience, and she used to make little brains in jars, and now she is a brain in a jar, and I love that for her. But now she's also a streamer full time, which I also love for her. Yeah, we love Shumimi. We love Shumimi. So here's what's happening. What's happening? So my regular stream days are now Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So I'll be streaming again tomorrow and also the day after. I don't know what we're doing yet. I'll decide that when I make my schedule later today, or maybe tomorrow, depending on how tired I am. Yeah, thank you all so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. I have nothing else to say, actually, so I'm just going to do the raid message. But we want to do a slightly different raid message today. Okay, so we want to do a slightly different raid message today. We want to add on, something about the debut. Something about the 2.0 debut. Just like happy debut or something. I don't know. Is that fine? So it's just something like happy debut, something like that, you know? Is that fine? Are we good with that? Is that fine? Thank you for the responses. They're really helpful. Oh dear. Okay, I'm gonna find the. Okay, yes, good. Okay, cool. Okay, right. Where's Shumimi? There she is. There she is. Let's go and raid into her. Say butt with 2 T's. That's very funny. You're welcome to do that. We love Shumimi and the Shuminions. But. Thank you for joining us, everybody. The one with the saucy backpacks is for subscribers. And the one with the orange things is for non-subscribers. There we go. Happy their butt. There we go. Their butt. That's so funny. I love that. Okay, so we're gonna go over to Shumi now. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. Link to the paper is in the pinned message if you want it. Like I said, next stream's tomorrow, probably at like 7:30 p.m. GMT. We will do something. Maybe we'll play a game. Maybe we'll play some House Flipper or something. I don't know. Or finish unpacking or something. Maybe game. I don't know. I think I have meetings tomorrow. Lots of meetings. So we'll do something chill. But yeah, let's go say Shimimi now. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Bye. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you all for spending time with me. Bye.